found out anyway. Most of them have got COVID.
Hello.
So yeah, like two of my cousins and uncle. I think some of their young as well, and then like another couple down in the other end of the country have got it as well.
Shit.
Yeah, well, it also, like, when I found out, the conversation didn't go all miserable, so I take it they haven't got it bad,
Yeah.
sort of a thing. But still sucks.
Yeah, that is not good. How are you anyway, Darren?
Well, all right. I should be pretty good as of tomorrow, because I'm back to my normal work hours.
Fair enough.
No more covering random shifts and bank holidays and stuff.
Oh. So I'm just oh, that's horrible.
What's that? Some drink you ready?
Yeah, I got a crate of craft beer.
Oh, right.
And all the ones I've had so far have been really nice, and I've just poured one, and it's bloody horrible.
Is it locust piss or something?
It's called Red Kite Organic Unfiltered Amber.
Oh, right, well, amber's orange, and red kite, I think that's a bird, so it might be the piss of that bird.
No. For those looking on the Twitch, hit. Oh no, you can't see my can because I'm used. Or you can just see it. Look.
Oh, you can just about.
Yeah. Hello, Byron. How are you doing? I had a chat with Byron today. He's going to come on the show at some point in the future, so that'd be cool.
Right.
Yeah. Also, we've got Delatov back. For those of you that listened to the Cyberpunk show yesterday, he was on that. They're having him back again, giving Dan a week off this week because he wants a break.
No.
So that's all good.
No, it's weird because back when local gatherings were a thing in the before times.
Yeah.
I play like a lot of fighting games, and so like the local club that I go to play fighting games, they like stream their stuff. And so
yeah.
I usually like help commentate and help do the stream, and so there's been none of that basically this whole year. And now I'm on 2 podcasts in 2 days, and that's weird.
Fair enough. Things usually happen in 3, so.
Oh,
Yeah. Right, let's give me a second and we'll get going. Hello, Hogarth. How are you doing on this fine evening? Right, let's turn this background music off.
Oh, did either of you have snow over Christmas or around
Nah,
the time?
mate.
Or?
No.
I had a little bit on Christmas Day, but it never settled.
Yeah.
As is tradition.
Well, I think as long as snow lands, it still counts, doesn't it?
I suppose.
Does it? Are you sure? I thought it had to be a blanket of snow.
I think I've only ever had one white Christmas.
Yeah, I think I can remember one.
I think I remember having some white Christmases as a kid, but not many.
Yeah.
It's got to that point now where I'm just like, why do they keep on like making Christmas films full of snow? It's just doesn't add up to the real world, does it?
No, not these days.
Good old global warming, if you believe in that. Yes. So who's watching? Clarky, hello Clarky. Hello Hogarth. Hello Ice Wizards. Hello Bing Cortana. I'm pretty sure at least one of those is a bot. Pretty sure. Maybe more than one. I definitely think that Hogarth is a bot.
But this one? This one's on a category of his own. Webby360G. It's isolated him, right?
He's definitely a robot. Definitely a robot. He's a robot that peddles out conspiracy theories.
Oh, well, we'll have to do away with him.
Right, so who's actually here in the who's watching live on Twitch? Say hi before we start.
Ooh.
No one. Hello, Delatov. Why's my screen looking all blurry? Oh, that'll
Have
be
you got
why.
to put your fingerprint on your camera or something?
That's why. There we go. Hogarth's one of those Chinese bots.
Oh,
Yeah. Trying to
Money
take
seller
over
on
the world.
MMOs.
Yeah. Yeah.
oh God.
Right, are we ready to rock?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Right, this is Patreon show this week. Next week we will be doing the Game of the Year show, which I'm very much looking forward to. I actually have a top 10 for the show, for that show, and everyone else is doing a top 5. But because I'm special needs, I get to do a top 10.
Why don't you
Alright.
just do a top 5 and honourable mentions?
Because I've got a top 10 and honourable mentions. That's play too many games, mate. Oh, Hogarth, did
think
you
I
not
could name
realise the
10
Earth was
games.
flat? Did you not realise the Earth was flat? I mean, if you sail to the edge of the Earth, there's giant sea monsters, and then you just fall off into space. Did you not know that? I thought everyone knew that. Come on.
Loch Ness Monster, the Kraken. Come on. They all
Yeah.
have to be somewhere, right?
I thought the Kraken was a rum.
Well, it is, but
Funny
that's, you know,
joke.
they milk it from the Kraken. How do you not know this, man?
God, come on! Wow,
Keep
God.
up.
I think we need to discuss some. I think we need to do a special conspiracy theory episode. I think that'd be quite funny, actually.
We just yes and see what it ends up as after 2 hours.
Yes. Apparently, most flat earthers don't believe in space. I'm learning something new. I haven't even started the show yet.
Oh God.
A lot of giant painting, like Truman Show.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Then what do they think's in between their heads? Oh, sick burn.
Oh dear. Okay, I'm nearly ready. Okay, so if we do a conspiracy show, I reckon we could get Alex Jones to come on.
All right. Oh well, the trick though is if we know it's a conspiracy theory show, he's not going to come on because he thinks it's real news.
Yeah, but we'll say to him it's real news. We're doing a real news show, and we'll get him on. That'd be really funny.
I suppose we win-win, right? Because if this is a Patreon only, he's got a sub
That's
to
it.
get this
That's
podcast where
it.
he's known, right?
It's all good. Oh, man, we've got plans flowing. We're flowing here. It's great.
Always thinking.
Yeah. Get Elon Musk on as well. He can do his conspiracy theories. Talk about space. Joe
How he's gonna
Rogan.
nuke Mars.
Yeah.
Well, he'll be too high to come on, I think, at this point.
Yeah, he wouldn't know what fucking podcast. He'd probably think it's his podcast. And the episode had gone for 5 fucking hours.
It's like, no, what I invited you onto my this is our podcast. And he's like,
Yes,
no, it's
it.
not. Put it on the screen, and then nothing happens.
Yeah. Right. Are we ready? I am
Think so.
ready. Are you ready? You guys both
Yeah.
ready?
Yeah.
Okay. 53. Is this episode 53? Did I put it on the thing? It's 53. It's Twitch. Or did I say it was 52? Oh no, I did put it as 53. Okay. You ready? Okay, so we'll go Darren and Delatov. And a 3.
Right.
And a 2. And a 1. Hello and welcome to 360 Gamercast episode 53 for Tuesday, the 5th of January 2021. I'm your host, Mark Webb, Gamertag Piss on D Steam ID, Webby, 360G, and joining me on this fine evening is.
Happy New Year, everyone. It's Sensei Switch.
Hello again from me, Delatoth.
God, Delatov 2 days in a row. 2 days.
I know.
It's
I know.
nuts. It's nuts. So for those of you that didn't know, we did another Patreon special recording yesterday, which was the Cyberpunk 2077 spoilerific blowout episode. It was myself, Delatov, and Sly Almond, and we had a really good time doing that show yesterday. I had a lot of fun. It was almost 2 hours long, and we could have kept on going, but alas, I had run out of my lunch break and had to go back to work, so yeah, it's the only time we could do it because obviously Sly in Australia. It was early afternoon show. So I think we started at 11, finished at 1, I think. So yeah,
Something like that.
yeah, that was busy. So anyway, this week is a normal show, and then next week is Game of the Year, which is gonna be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to that completely. So anyway, as always, we'll start the show with the news. This is the news. I've only got 2 bits of news, actually. It's been a bit of a slow news week, from what I've seen. Or I just haven't been paying much attention. Probably a bit of both, to be honest. So if there's anything I've missed, feel free to chime in, guys. January, PlayStation Plus has actually been pretty decent for a change. So if you're on a PS5, you get a free copy of Maneater, which is pretty awesome. And then for the PS4, you get Shadow of the Tomb Raider and Greedfall, which is, by all accounts, a pretty decent RPG. So I think that's pretty cool. Cool. Hogarth said that the yesterday's show was longer than it took Sly to finish the game. You're probably right there, mate. He banged it out so quick, it was unbelievable. Crazy. And my last piece of news is that Capcom have announced their new console. It's called the Retro Station. So if you can see it on the screen here, it looks really
What
weird.
is that?
Yeah, it's the Capcom Retro Station. It's another mini retro console, like the mini NES and SNES and all that. But it has some games on it that you can look forward to. Mega Man 1, 2, X, Super Street Fighter 2, well, pretty much every single Street Fighter. It's going to be $210 US. Rip off. But there we go.
Didn't they release a weird remastered Street Fighter 2 2 years ago?
That's actually really the one on the Switch. That was really good.
Yeah, I think there was one on
Yeah,
the
it was a really
Switch.
good one. That
25th
was.
anniversary edition or something.
Yeah, I
right?
really like that one. It was good. It was a good actual. It was actually a very good version of Street Fighter, to be honest.
Didn't they add 2 extra characters, like Evil Ryu or something as a character now?
I think
in
so.
Street
I
Fighter
can't
2?
quite remember.
That was weird.
Yeah, when they've done Street Fighter 2 so many times, I've lost count now. That's actually all my news. Anyone else got any news? I literally cannot think of anything else that's happened this week.
I saw somebody posted on the Discord that Steam has for the first time hit 25 million concurrent users.
Oh my goodness. That's a lot of people, dude.
That's a lot of people.
Well, I think, I don't know if I'm right in this, probably not. Who knows? I think Steam is now available in China. And also, you know how big China is, how many people they've got there.
Yeah.
I think that might have something to do with it. Or the Chinese users. But yeah, that is a lot. I can hear a cat.
That's my cat.
Hello, cat.
Unfortunately.
Pussycat. See if the cat can hear me through the microphone.
No, but he might be able to hear you through.
Hello, kitty. Anyway, Any other news? Any other news?
Yeah, there was one
Yep.
that I saw today. Well, today it's been sort of ongoing for about 3 or 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
A game that came out on Steam, I think it was about 6 months ago, is hitting this Nintendo Switch
What game's
in a
that?
couple of days' time. Called like a cyberpunk ghost story.
Cyberpunk Ghost Story, Ghost Runner, you mean?
No, it's like cyberpunk a ghost story or something. It's like a sort of like a horror point and click pixel art game set in like a cyberpunk universe.
All right.
Oh yeah, I see it.
Cyberpunk.
And
A
it was
Ghost
announced
Story.
for the Switch, and I think like Nintendo, some Nintendo website did like a sort of thing about the game, which brought the developers tons and tons of hate online
Tons of hate. Why loads of hate?
because boobs.
Oh.
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 and Puritans. So basically, they got assaulted with like hate mail, emails, death threats, the usual kind of
Okay.
stuff. They posted a statement, I think it was a day or so afterwards, to sort of say that they're not gonna censor the game for a small vocal minority of idiots on social media, basically, in some clever worded sort
Okay.
of statement they sort of put out.
Yeah.
And then I think a bit later on they posted like 5 things on their Twitter account. So it's made by like Top Hat Studios, and they
Okay.
posted like loads of screen caps of all the abuse and stuff they've been getting.
Oh.
And strangely enough,
Mm.
none of the gaming sites covered that
Oh.
because it doesn't fit their agenda.
I hate these agendas. I hate them. But there we go.
It's so pathetic. Like, you can guarantee if it was anything else, they'd be the first people to cover something like this
Yeah. Yeah.
and basically sort of speak out about it and all the rest of it. But because it doesn't fit in with their sort of mindset or their sort of like activism disguised as game journalism,
Mm-hmm.
they couldn't be bothered to obviously report on it or anything. So
I mean, the art style looks actually
that's
quite cool. I think, Darren. It looks like an interesting game. Obviously, the girls have got giant boobs, but who doesn't like boobies? Come on. I mean,
Yeah, like
it's set in like cyberpunk where people sort of like augment their bodies and stuff. And as far as I know, there's no nudity and stuff in the game.
yeah, that's
yeah.
what I was gonna ask. Like, is it just some of the characters are busty? Because like, there's a
Well,
point where
you
they're
can't
wearing
be
like a
busty now
tiny.
at all because busty women don't exist
Because there's a
apparently in
point
real life.
in this trailer where like it goes like an alternate costume, I guess, where it looks like a Chinese like style like dress, and it's the same character. It doesn't look anywhere near as like um top heavy as
Yeah.
the default costume looks. So like
Mm.
which is like if that's just the crux of their issue is like that the default costume accentuates the breasts a bit too much. That's a bit
Yeah, it is a bit odd. I mean, I'm just looking on Steam. Actually, it's £11.61 on Steam, and it's got it's very positive reviews.
Mm.
152 reviews on there. Very positive is the overall score. And the top review says, I bought this game to reward Top Hat Studios for giving a big middle finger to the SJW Council mob on Twitter, who are trying to get the game censored. I wish more publishers and devs would do that instead of constantly bending the knee to them. Having played it, I'm really enjoying it so far. And it's actually apparently a lot of people are who are I'm just scanning the reviews, and a lot of people are saying. So I'm just going to read one very brief part of another one. Um, I never would have even given this game a second look if it hadn't been for all the hullabaloo in the media about it. In short, the developers were attacked by the usual suspects on Twitter. So naturally, I bought the game. Didn't even care if I was going to like it. I just need more developers willing to stand up. Blah blah blah. Anyway, it's a long review, but at the end of it, he just says, "I really love this game. It's great."
Mm. Yeah, you had like the sort of like a ton of posts bitching and moaning and complaining and sort of basically sort of like, oh, who is it that allowed you to publish this on Nintendo? We'll get hold of Nintendo and make sure you never publish on their platform again. And this is
Nintendo
why
have
we,
Nintendo,
yeah,
like people at
Nintendo put
Nintendo
out
are weird, man.
Nintendo put out worse games.
oh yeah.
You know,
I mean,
that
there's technically sort of dodgy language in some of the stuff that's been said anyway.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Like after stuff that's sort of like that they've obviously had in complaints, and then people saying like, oh, we're going to try and keep people like games developers like you out of the industry and all this sort of stuff.
oh, it's ridiculous, but
And then
because it's
it's
censoring all the
pathetic. It
Japanese
is
devs,
absolutely
mainly.
pathetic.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I mean it's a Western developer that's done it,
yeah,
but they've
yeah. I know.
obviously gone for a certain type of art aesthetic, and it's a
Hmm.
certain type of art aesthetic that people don't like because, as you know, there's plenty of games out there by Western developers with actual full nudity and sex scenes in
Hmm. Hmm.
that are apparently perfectly fine. It's also perfectly fine to apparently cut someone's face in half and like rip their guts out and stuff. But heaven forbid someone's got anything more than a B cup
Oh, that's
in a
redonk,
game.
innit? So I'm trying
And
to.
someone even is even like I said saw in some of the replies is asking like some of the bigger YouTubers to sort of cover this,
Yeah,
who usually cover stuff about devs getting death threats and stuff,
yeah,
because there's quite a few times when people say they've received death threats, but they don't ever give evidence that they've
yeah.
actually received them. But yet
Hmm.
there's like pages and pages and pages of this.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a strange one because what I was going to say, Darren, is obviously as people that have really enjoyed Japanese made games since day dot, we know kind of the kind of style and aesthetic that they go for and the kind of storylines that they go for. Um, I've been playing a lot of Yakuza Like a Dragon the past week or so, and that's very traditional in a sort of way, which I will discuss later. And it's weird because you would usually find all those games in the past on the Sony platforms, never on Xbox or Nintendo. And it seems now, obviously, Sony have now moved their headquarters from Japan to the USA, and they've now gone. Now they're in the USA. They've gone to that very left leaning politics, and what that entails is a lot of censoring of certain content. So what you're finding now, if you want to experience these style of games, and there's nothing wrong with enjoying those sort of games, you're having to mainly go to Nintendo because they still publish those games because they're a Japanese company, and those games sort of games are ingrained in their culture. But what I'm seeing now is that Microsoft are now looking to also start to put these games on their platform as well. They're going to try and take away a lot of that market, and I think it's going to backfire on Sony, to be honest.
Maybe. Well, like America's always been pretty Puritan, regardless of like left or right in a lot
Hmm.
of aspects. So I wonder
Yeah.
how much of it is also just like Japanese being quite insular with their market share. And
I
there's sort of
don't
going to
know,
be a
yeah.
culture shock there as well, right? So there's other layers than just I think left wing politics. Even though like it is a Twitter mob. It's like
Yeah.
sometimes there is just a Twitter mob, and so I'm not going to
Hmm.
pretend that Twitter doesn't lean left, right? Like,
Hmm.
um,
I don't even think it's like an actual sort of political thing of whether you lean left or right. There's like tons of hypocrisy wherever you look. Generally, like 9 times out of 10 when it
yeah,
comes to certain things. Um, and I don't know. There's a ton of like activists out there trying to change things that don't need to be changed. Like I've said many times before on here, it's like there's a ton of shit out there I don't like. I just don't partake in it or purchase it or
Yeah.
watch it. I don't want it gone or censored or fucked off. And that's the complete difference. These people just like, oh, I don't like this, so I don't want it to exist.
Yeah.
yeah, Yeah, those people are definitely out
sort
there.
of thing. So we need more and more developers to actually speak out. 'Cause this is, I think, the second developer within about 2 or 3 weeks to have basically said, "You want this censored? We're not going to censor it."
Yeah, yeah,
Basically.
yeah. It's a shame. It's just media in general just seems there's always a backlash in media in general. It just makes me think that people have nothing fucking better to do with their lives. You know, there's more important things out there
Mm.
to worry about. But,
Everyone's got a phone in the pocket connected to everyone else's phone, right?
yeah, that's it. I mean, I remember because I'm not as old as Darren, but I remember before social media and all that, I didn't, you'd never know anyone's political persuasion. You'd never know a lot of people's opinions on a lot of things, right? And now it's like everyone just puts everything out there on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or whatever, and it's made the world a very strange place. I think like my kids are going to grow up with it. So it's going to be interesting to see what they're like when they're like my age. Will probably be completely fraggled, having to see psychiatrists and all sorts. Who knows?
And then you've got to deal with this social media world
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
yeah.
Like it's a weird like social
Yeah,
media.
it's strange that there's a group of people out there that just want to try and sort of, in a sense, politicise absolutely fucking everything. When they
Yeah,
don't realise that gaming, music, films, television, it's all forms of escapism to get away from all of that shit.
yeah, yeah.
Like, if
100%
people
agree.
want everything to be political or politicised all day, live on Twitter and be a miserable bastard then.
That's it.
Like, I
Yeah.
spend less and less time on Twitter every week because it's just a cesspool of shit,
I don't blame
day
you, mate.
after day.
Oh yeah, I don't blame you for that. It's one of
Yeah.
the reasons I stopped using Facebook years ago.
Mm,
It's like all of it just sort of devolves. It's like as Facebook started like opening up, and it's like okay, well, I've got my group of friends, and now I'm
mm.
starting to see posts from my friends,
Uh,
aunties, friends. And then it starts
And
bringing up like, here's your timeline of all of this random stuff your friends, aunties, like cousin has posted 7 years ago. It's like, I don't care.
it's supposed to be like social media is supposed to be for discourse, but
Yeah.
there is no discourse. It's just wholesome abuse,
screaming.
block
Yeah,
people.
yeah, yeah. And then the problem is
There's no actual
people get
sitting down and
into,
chatting.
especially I think it's mainly Twitter. People get into bubbles where they only see stuff that they agree with, so then they start to think that the whole world thinks their way when they're actually in the tiny minority of people around the world. But it's just their worldview is just very skewed and not seeing both sides of the conversation. But getting back to gaming, it's strange, right? Because I remember back in the day, you look at game reviews, in your magazines, and then obviously the internet came about, and you look at reviews online by the so-called professional reviewers. As before all the YouTubers kind of took over the world. Game reviews were reviewing the games, right? It was just very objective, this is what I liked or whatever, this is the good shit, this is the bad shit. But what you see from a lot of publications now, especially with the likes of Polygon, it's all just their political, they're trying to shove all their politics into all their game reviews, and a lot of other um, sites are doing the same thing, and I think it's just ruining gaming in a weird way, because
It
it's just
ruins all facets of entertainment,
yeah,
to be
yeah,
honest. When
yeah.
when you just sort of stick to your bubbles and stuff like that. I mean, on obviously another subject, we had obviously a certain sort of TV show or streaming series the other week, basically sort of give everyone a little bit of what they wanted.
We're
Um,
talking about Star Trek or something else.
Star Wars,
Oh, Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Mandalorian,
I really
obviously
like the
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian, man.
I
That
like
was
the
Yeah, no,
Mandalorian.
It's
fucking awesome.
it's probably it is good. It is definitely good. But they obviously did something quite fan servicey the other day.
Yes, not gonna
And the
spoil it.
fans really liked it,
Yeah.
and then some of the people in the media kind of didn't.
Yeah, I don't get that.
to a degree.
Well, everyone's
It's
got an opinion,
weird.
right? But,
All
yeah.
I've seen from like a lot of the media is like people who work there fanboying over the last episode. Like, I haven't seen too much in the way of backlash outside of why don't we know how they did it yet?
Yeah.
I mean, they're becoming sort of like they're improving all the time to obviously rectify some of the mistakes they might have made with their sort of films recently that kind
Yeah.
of didn't cater to the old guard who sort of grew
Yeah.
up with those films and sort of like grew up with those characters and everything. So maybe we're now starting to see more companies actually listening to their actual customers instead of like these lunatics on social media.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because all the people that were screeching about that game, they're not
Yeah.
going to buy it anyway.
No.
They just want to screech the house down and stop them being able to sell it to anyone that does actually want to buy it.
Yeah.
And in doing so, they've probably drawn more light to the game, and that game now is probably going to sell more copies than it would have otherwise.
Yeah. It has the opposite effect because, any press is good press, right? Bad press is still good press because it's getting your name out there. And if people hear about a game and it's like, oh yeah, it's really bad, it has this and that, it's going to entice a lot of people to buy it to see what the hell the hype's all about. So.
I mean, you only have to look at rock and roll stars back in the day, like, oh, you trashed the hotel room, oh, good, we'll sell a bunch more albums for that. Nice one. Like, it's bad that you did that, but now your name's out in the press and you got a bit of a
That's
rep.
why we're millionaires, right? Like, we
Yeah.
can cover a hotel room.
Cool. All right. Any other news?
No, that was pretty much like one of the biggest sort of things. Everyone's still sort of recovering from the
Yeah.
Christmas stuff.
But before we move on to games, I just want to say the 1st of January, the new season of Cobra Kai came out on Netflix. And I don't know if you guys have watched it or anything. Been into Cobra Kai at all. Oh, the missus and I binged the whole season in 2 evenings. It's so fucking good.
Tradition.
It's so good. That's all I'm going to say. Obviously, I'm not going to spoil it.
I've heard. I haven't watched it myself, but I know everyone who's watched it says it's good, and it fully respects all of the characters from the original films.
Yes, yeah, it does a really good job.
Use those characters, shit all over them to prop up.
No, it doesn't.
Like paper thin characters that they're adding to the story.
Well, they bring all the old actors back, which is really, really cool.
I saw they'd even brought back the old, the dojo owner from the first 2 films.
Yeah.
Is it Kreese?
Yeah.
That is like a weirdly niche, like, role to reprise. In the grand scheme of things.
Well, it's actually done very well, to be honest. So I don't want to say anything to people because I don't want to spoil it for people, but it's really weird because it's like, I really enjoyed the Karate Kid films, back in the day, but didn't really give them a second thought, if you know what I mean. Just like, yeah, they were good films, and then started watching the first season, and it is done so fucking good. It's so addictive to watch. It's very cheesy, just like the films were as well, but it's just so good. I highly recommend it. So that's all I'm going to say on that.
I might give it a second look then, because
it's good.
Yeah, it's good. Before my time was the old Karate Kid. So.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, you should download the films and watch them because there's a lot of references, but they do flashbacks as well if you can't be fucked to do that.
No, I
apparently doesn't this new series deal with quite a lot of stuff in Karate Kid 2?
I'm not saying anything, not spoiling it. La 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 la. Yeah, and obviously since
I think he was a fan and he stunted.
Yeah, and obviously since I finished Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I started watching Vikings with the missus, and we've binged the first 2 seasons of that, and we're now on to the second episode of season 3. So that's a really good show. That's another bingeable show.
Travis Fimmel is like so good in that.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It's on Amazon Prime, so you need to have that to watch it. But yeah, we're absolutely loving that show. So that's something else. Apparently, there's a new season out. And
I think it started a little while ago. It's the final season, isn't it?
And unfortunately, I've seen some spoilers of what happens to some of the characters. You know, 2 or 3 seasons further on than what I'm on, so it's a bit annoying, but that's the way it is. And then after we've finished Vikings, we're going to check out The Last Kingdom on Netflix because that's very similar as well.
That's another good one as well.
Yeah, Hogarth has just put in the chat that that's better than Vikings, but you have to get the Webby review on that in probably a few months' time. We'll see. Yeah. Anyway, should we get into what we've been playing?
Yes.
Who wants to go first?
Why don't you go first for once? That'd be
Me? Oh,
a change.
okay.
Yeah,
Makes a
you usually go last, don't you?
yeah. Well, it's usually save the best for last, isn't it? But I'll go first. That's fine. Even though I haven't loaded up my games onto YouTube because you normally do that last, but that's fine. So I've been playing a lot of Yakuza Like a Dragon. A lot. I think I've been playing. Well, I'm surprised how much game time I put into this. Actually, got it on Christmas Day from the missus on the Xbox, so I'm actually playing it on the Xbox One X. I'm very last gen with this game, and it's a little bit of a shame I'm not playing it on a next gen system on my PC, to be honest, because the one thing I do notice is a lot of the time the frame rate does drop down quite a bit when you're in a busy area of the city. And
I
sometimes
was
the
going to
load
say, it
times.
doesn't exactly seem to be a game that's like must play it on next gen.
No,
type of a thing.
I mean, it runs well enough. I'm really enjoying the game. It's the same engine as the previous Yakuza games, anyway. It's not. It's set in Yokohama. Yokohama. What's that?
Yeah,
So it's not.
Yokohama.
So it's not in the same city as the original games, even though you start off in that original city, so it's all there. And then stuff happens. It's really hard to talk about that spoiling, but what I'm going to say is, I was very apprehensive at first when it came to this game because obviously I've played through Yakuza's 1 to 6, that's 7 games in total, with Kiryu Kazuma as the main character, and it was basically an epic story from start to finish with him and obviously all the other characters you meet and are friends with along the way. So it was a strange one for me because I'm a mega fan of the Yakuza games, and so this one is a brand new. It's starting again, new characters, and the battle system's completely changed. It's a turn-based battle system, and it actually works really well. But what I'm liking about this game as well is it doesn't a lot of the time it doesn't take itself too seriously.
Have
Very
you
very
seen
much.
the summons?
Yes, I've got a lot of the summons. So the battle system is really cool. So the main protagonist in Yakuza Like a Dragon, Ichiban, his name is. He's a massive Dragon Quest fan. So there's a lot of references to the Dragon Quest series throughout this game. And what it is, when as you're progressing, you actually make friends, and they join your party. And he makes references, "Oh, my party's getting stronger, and we're earning XP." And you actually are, so you'll get into battles, and it's all very turn based. You can attack, and you've got like your tank person, you've got like your healer, and your all rounder. Very much like a traditional JRPG, but it's done in a very quirky way. So, as a prime example, one of your early party members is a bum, and his main weapon is a umbrella. So the umbrella's, it's trying to, so he's a mage, and his umbrella's like his stick, like what mages have, right? But his moves are really funny. So he has one move where he chucks out seeds, and pigeons come and attack the enemy. One of his other moves is, he's a bum, so he's always got like alcohol in a brown bag, and he gets a lighter out and spits flames, at the enemy, which is really cool. And then throughout the game as well, you can get some cool summons, and you get extra summons by doing the side missions in the game. So it actually makes the side missions a lot more worthwhile to do than in the previous Yakuza's, because what I found in the previous Yakuza games was I would ignore most the side quests. I couldn't be asked with them because the stories weren't that great and they took a lot of time and they just felt very throwaway. Whereas what I'm finding, I'm actually running around the city at the minute and doing every single side story before going on to the next main mission because one, they're really well done. Two, they have really good stories and some of them are comedy gold. And three, you get some really funny summons. So one of them, this is like spoiler. There's this bloke who has a pet crab. Well, you think he's got
Yes,
a
the
pet
crab.
crab, yeah, right. So you see this crab and you're like, oh, poor crab, I'll throw you back in the river. So you lob him in the river, and this bum comes over. Oh, you threw my pet crab in the river. Oh, and so you feel really guilty. So you go and find the crab. So you find him and you give it back to the dude, and the dude's like, "Oh, thank you for giving me my pet back." And you're like, "Oh, cool." And then he invites you to dinner, right? And then you're like, "Oh, okay, cool. I'll have some dinner." And he gives you the starters, and you're like, "Oh, what's the main course?" "Oh, this crab's my main course. I've been fattening him up." And your character's like, "Hey, I thought he was your pet, and you've named him. I don't want him to die." So then your quest is right, and so he says, "Well, if you feed me, go and get me this really expensive meal, you can have the crab." So you do that, and then you get the crab, and then he becomes one of your summons, giant enemy crab. Yeah, so there's some really silly ones. There really, really is. So it's it. This is what I love about the Yakuza games. Like it has a very like the main storyline is very serious and it starts off. I mean, within the first couple of hours, you're gripped into the main story. Like this is what they do. It's very the Yakuza games are very story heavy, and like lots of plot twists very early on, and a lot of things happens, and a lot of time passes um within the game. I'm not going to mention what happens for people that want to play it and haven't played it, but it drags you in and what it does is when you meet other people in the game who your character becomes friends with, you actually start to really care about them because what the Yakuza games do very well, and I think this might be a Japanese thing, is there's a lot of open feelings involved, like the conversations that the characters have within cutscenes and stuff can be very deep and meaningful. So you find out a lot about the other characters' backstories and why they are how they are, and blah blah blah. And and it becomes very meaningful. Now, you have to know a little bit about Japanese culture to really get these games, and some of the stuff is really, really weird because one of the recurring themes throughout the Yakuza games are these bars where you go to and then you get women to come and sit with you and you buy them drinks and all that. They are a recurring thing. Apparently, they're very popular in Japan. They're a common thing, but to everyone else in the world, I find that kind of a weird thing. But these bars are very
They're
prominent in the game.
basically, yeah, they're pretty much sort of like a rental girlfriend service to a certain degree. So
Yeah,
it's like you might want to take a woman out for a meal or something, but there's a lot of like business and salary men in the
yeah,
city that
yeah,
haven't got time to do all of that kind of stuff.
yeah,
So
yeah,
they'll
yeah.
just basically go somewhere and like pay for a meal for like one of these hostesses and stuff,
Yes,
and they
yeah.
just sit
Hostess
and chat
clubs.
to them.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
it
yeah.
sounds seedy, but it's actually kind
Yeah,
of
because
slightly
Well,
more
what
wholesome
was
than you
quite
in the
think.
West,
funny
in the West, they're
is
usually like considered a bit seedier than just
yeah,
sitting
it's
down
not.
with people, even though some of them do literally just do like,
Yes.
oh, you don't have a girlfriend for a wedding,
Mm.
basically I can be on your arm for like 2 hours and then we never have to see each other again.
Yeah, so my stepson's wife is Japanese. So I was chatting to her about that over Christmas because they came over on Christmas Day. They're in our bubble. It's a fucking stupid term. Anyway, um, I was talking to her about this. I was like, I'm really fascinated about these hostess clubs. Are they common out there? Blah, blah, what are they for? And she was saying to me that they're everywhere. They're perfectly normal, and what they're really used for is like if you're running a big corporation, a big business, and you want to impress a client, you'll take them to like the best hostess club and get the prettiest girls, and you kind of use it as to lure the customers into signing contracts and all that sort of stuff, showing them a good time, and it's all perfect, mostly it's perfectly above board, and it's just, you have some hot girls on your shoulder and you're having drinks with them and all that. But
My
uh,
brother actually dated one for a couple of years.
oh wow, oh yeah, 'cause your brother lives in Japan, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's obviously married now, but his
yeah.
previous partner, she did that for
Oh
a little
wow,
while.
okay,
Hmm.
interesting, okay. But yeah,
I mean,
so there's a lot of the
cocaine off like in a strip club, but like just our equivalent, which is when you think about it, a lot worse.
yeah, yeah. So actually, so another thing that Strokey's just reminded me of in the Twitch chat, it talks about Soaplands. So Soapland is basically a prostitution house. We go and pay for a prosy, and funnily enough, in Yakuza Like a Dragon, they are very prominent within the game as well. I'm not going to say why or what happens or anything like that, but just know that they are heavily used in the game, especially near the first 10 hours or so. It's quite interesting. It's quite funny actually. But I haven't finished the game yet. I'm really really loving it. Like some of the mini games are really cool. So one of the mini games that I've just unlocked is go karting, and it's basically it is Mario Kart. You're in go karts, you pick up your items along the track, and you use them to hit the other riders, and you're racing around the city. Mm, and that's a mini game for the tournament. So I'm doing that at the minute as well. But what I really like about it is like you can have a lot of fun on the side, and then when you get into the main campaign, it's very serious. So in this one, there's a lot of the Chinese mafia involved, and you're trying to you've been betrayed and all this other stuff's happening, and it's just it's just such a good game. And I a big part of me is a little bit sad that I waited so long, but at least we pushed back the game of the year show so I can get time to play it to add it into the top 10. So yeah,
I think is
it's
this
great.
one of the fastest Yakuza games to actually get a release? Because it came out about March last year in Japan, obviously on
Yes.
PS4, when it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
the
yeah.
platform it came out on
Yeah,
originally.
but it's actually the first Yakuza game to have English voice acting as an option.
Yeah, I was a bit disappointed about that, to be honest. But
Y-
maybe they're trying to branch out
Yeah, they are trying to branch out.
to get another audience.
I'm playing it in Japanese, so I don't know what the English voice acting's like. I wouldn't have a clue because I've played all the other ones in the native language. For me, it'd feel very jarring to then play, another game in the
Mhm.
series in English.
Yeah.
Um, so I've played Yakuza's 0 to 6, and also Judgment, which is also made by the same team, set in the same city, which is like a spin-off Yakuza game, but you play as a cop, and that's a highly recommended game as well. So you
You
can
can
tell I'm a
get that
fan. I've
for
played,
under 20 quid now.
yeah,
Judgment.
you think all these games are at least 40 to 50 hours each, and I've completed them all within a couple of years. It's a
That
lot of
sounds like
games.
a short game to me.
Well, yeah, to you, Darren, but for me, that's a long time. But yeah, it's a great game, and I highly recommend it. Right, so we move on to the next game.
Mm-hmm.
What else have I played? What else have I played? I've not actually been playing a lot. Oh yes, I completed a game this week in record time. Resident Evil 3. This game, I loved it, man. I thought it was great. Yeah, Resident Evil 3 remaster.
All right.
Really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really great little jaunt. I don't really understand the completion time though, because there was two times. There was like a total. There was two times, and it said completion time 2 hours and 53 minutes, and then it had another time on the top right that said 5 hours. So I'm guessing I completed it in under 3 hours, which is not long at all. It only took me a couple of sittings to do, to be honest. But it what I really liked about it was, one, it wasn't long, so I got it banged out quite quick. I didn't pay much for it at all, and the graphics are absolutely fucking stunning on this game. They're just absolutely amazing, and it's just a very fast-paced story. There's a lot of, the cutscenes are very, very good, and it just like you're jumping from action to puzzles very, very quick. Doesn't feel like there's any filler in the game, if that makes sense. It's just you're always constantly doing something, which is really, really cool. But
They did actually cut sections of the original game out, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
yeah,
So one of the reasons I asked, like, which one was it when you were like, I've completed a game, and I'm like, well, if you
thing
completed
is,
the original, that would have taken you like a good maybe like 15 hours because there's like multiple choices and like routes, and the levels are quite. Some of the levels are quite long.
yeah, I mean, I can't really. I mean, I played Resident Evil 3 original, when I was probably about 14, 15, so I don't really remember it very well. It's a long time ago. But what I completely forgot was because I'd very recently completed Resident Evil 2 remake. You go back to the police station from Resident Evil 2 in Resident Evil 3,
Yeah,
and
it's
and
called.
you see a certain character who's very prominent in Resident Evil 2 in this as
Yes,
well, which I'm not going to mention for spoiler's sake, but I thought that was very, very cool. The
I can't
Nemesis
believe
was
they added tofu. That's mad, isn't
I know.
it?
But yeah, I mean it's a good fun short game. I mean, if you can pick it up cheap, I would highly recommend it. But I'm glad I didn't, buy it when it came out for that full asking price, because I would have been a little bit disappointed to have finished it that quick, and I can see why people were a little bit upset when it came out. But as a short romp, a bit like a really good action movie, because it's about the length of a movie. I had a really good time with it, and I really enjoyed the jump scares, a lot of jump scares, and just again that engine they're using for these Resident Evil games is just stunning, because there's so much attention to detail within this game. The graphics, the lighting. I mean, you would think this has probably got ray tracing. The way the lighting is, it reflects off the puddles and not, and then the windows and that. It looks that is the lighting is one of the things that really stands out to me in this game. But it's just, everything's just because it looks so good, adds that extra essence of scariness to it. Because you remember these games on the PS1, I mean, they were scary-ish, but because the graphics were so shit, it wasn't really. It's not as effective as looking at it as you're seeing on the video on Twitch. Super realistic. I mean, that's going to make you shit your pants.
I think it's like the environmental stuff was more than just like, oh, it's a high res zombie. It's like, okay, well, zombie's a zombie, but you can see like the bodies piling up outside the fence much clearer.
Yeah,
like the people in there are like people who've died in their car. It's just like little like environmental detail is sold way better in this game than a lot of the environments of the
yeah,
day.
100%, 100%. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know what else to say about it really. It's Resident Evil.
Did you try the online versus mode thing that they
Nah, I
replaced
literally
Mercenaries with? Good man.
banged out the campaign and deleted it off my hard
That
drive. Job
existed.
done. Couldn't be
Maybe
asked.
completely different like development team as well and stuff, wasn't it? It was like some weird. Oh man, that was a weird.
Yeah,
That was why I didn't buy the game, literally, because I didn't want some online multiplayer thing taking up hard drive space.
that's
I
fair
just
enough,
wanted
mate.
Resident Evil. I don't want any of that. And like just shortly after it came out, they were like, "Oh, we're doing constant updates and stuff." And I was like, "Yeah, glad I didn't bother with that, because
Yeah,
you just keep
yeah,
upping the file size for some shit I'm not going to play."
yeah. Well, let's just say I didn't pay very much for this at all, so I'm quite pleased. Anyway,
Was it a winter sale job? Was it?
yeah, pretty much. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Right, next game. Um, I went back in time this week, guys. Went back in time. I because I finished Cyberpunk, which I've already talked about, so I'm not going to talk about that again. I loaded up Grand Theft Auto 5 on my
Retro.
PC. Yeah, and you know what? I felt like doing a little bit of the online, so I did about an hour of the online, but because obviously I don't have many friends online when I want to play the online. I didn't really have a great time because I'm getting murked by all these people. So I thought, you know what? I haven't completed the campaign since the Xbox 360. So I've got it on PC. Why not bang it out again? And I'll tell you what, 40, 50 hours later, I fucking finished it today, this afternoon.
Nice.
Mate, for a game that came out in 2013, it still holds up today. And I'm going to put my hands up and say the quality of this game is better than many games that came out in 2020. I have to say, there's so much attention to detail. The graphics on it still hold up so well even today. And then I'm thinking of, I'm thinking to myself, oh, I'm comparing it to Cyberpunk a little bit because obviously it's open world, and I'm like, it's just all the elements in Grand Theft Auto are so much better. Like the AI of people who are driving. Like you'll go into the back of a car, and the AI of the character of the passenger or the people driving those other cars will act completely different. Each time. You get some people that will speed off, some people that will get out of the car and want to fight you. All these different things. And every car you can shoot the tires out. You can fly anywhere in the in the world. The water looks amazing. You got mission like a submarine mission, right? You're going underwater, and it's just the amount of detail they've put into just all the stuff under the water. All the fish, all the coral reefs, and all the vegetation. Fuck me, it's like
There's a
this
Crash
game.
UFO in there.
This game is so fucking old, and it looks and runs so well. I mean, it's taken me to get a 3080 to get it to run at over 60 FPS with all the graphics maxed out. But I've mate, I'll tell you what, the story on this, like that's what kept me gripped because it's been so long since I played it. A lot of it I'd forgotten, and it's just the way the missions are done so well. And what I was loving about playing it this time was just the way you can chop and change between the three main characters, and how all the three characters are such polar opposites, but they work so well together. And the other thing I really like about it is when you're doing the heists for the main missions in the game. It's all you don't just go and do it. You have to go and set it up. Like steal specific cars for getaway cars, and steal certain objects, and all this sort of stuff to set the heist up. Bribe people, take their outfits, and all ID cards, and there's all these little things, and it just makes it more believable. So yeah, this campaign is you can't beat it, man. It's so fucking good, and it has me a little bit worried about Grand Theft Auto 6 because obviously a big portion of Grand Theft Auto 5 and where Rockstar have made most of their money is through the online. I mean, I like the online on GTA 5, but I think it's kind of full
When
of
you're playing on
kids.
your own.
Yeah, and the problem is like if you want to do, because I really want to do the heists online, but you need to actually know people to jump in them with, and it's just quite a big barrier to entry when you don't have that crew of people. So I know the next DLC that they're doing for the online is actually a single player heist for the online portion of the game, which is quite weird. So, um, but yeah, one thing I would love to see for GTA 5 is crossplay added. It needs to happen. I know it's coming. I know the game is coming to the PS5 and Xbox Series X at some point.
Well, it's
Well,
not the actual. I think it is just the online part. It's not the
yeah.
actual main game.
Mm. But I'd love to see them do crossplay, between all the platforms that it's on, because I think that would be really, really cool. Yeah, and just an easier way of maybe finding people to do those heists with, because I've kind of
Has the game? Yeah, sorry for
has
butting
the
in. I was
game,
about to say,
yeah.
has the game actually left the top 10 sellers list
I
at
don't
all
know. I
since it
don't
came
know.
out?
I mean, it's
Because
such a
that's
quality
absolute
game.
madness.
It is. I mean, I've bought this on Xbox 360, Xbox One, and PC. And I'm sure a lot of people are in the same position. They've bought it multiple times on
I have
multiple
it twice.
platforms. Yeah.
Mm.
Truly is Rockstar's Skyrim.
Yeah, it is the best. It is the best game that they've ever brought out, and as I say, I can see why it still sells well and it still has a big player base because it is just pure quality. It oozes quality. it's just so much attention to detail. The world is
I
just
would
so well done.
still probably say the original Red Dead was my best Rockstar game.
Okay, that's fair enough. I mean, everyone's got their own opinion, but it's just with this, it's not just it's just everything about the world and all the radio stations having real world music and the DJ stuff. It just makes it feel like a living, breathing city,
Yeah, the
And
fact as well that they've added, I can't remember if it was someone on PlayStation that mentioned it, or maybe Dan or someone, that where they've
yeah,
actually added multiple new radio stations as well to the
yeah,
game
There's like
to
4 or
obviously
5 new
keep it
ones, I think,
fresh.
at this point.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. There is,
And I think
yeah.
we're in a point where like a lot of the older GTA games are so like old, where like the music licensing is running out, and if you've got a legitimate copy of San Andreas, it's got less music in it than when you bought it when it came out.
Oh shit! That's so weird. That is weird. But yeah, what was I going to say? Just it's a great game. If you haven't played it for a long time, or you have the opportunity to play it on a more powerful system, so you could run it at, I don't know, better graphics, better frame rate, or whatever than what it was on the 360. So if you haven't played since then, it's worth playing through again. Really, really is. I loved it from start to finish. It had me hooked. So if anyone's playing on PC and wants to hook up for some online, let me know. It's I am up for that. It's a great game. Cool. So I've talked about Yakuza, Resident Evil 3, GTA 5. The only thing I just need to mention very briefly is I'm still playing a lot of Flight Simulator 2020. I'm absolutely loving this simulator. You can't really call it a game. It's a simulator, and I'm not sure if there's a date when it's coming out in the Series X. Is there? Is it in the summertime, April, May time? Maybe I'm not quite sure.
No idea.
Okay, I'm really looking forward to more people being able to experience Flight Simulator. I really, really am because this came out last year on the PC, and since it came out, I've been hooked on it. I play it a lot. I've got the the flight stick, and that makes it more believable. But it's just every time I play it, I'm just in awe with just how realistic everything looks. The fact you can go anywhere in the world, and it's just so fucking cool. I've got Hogarth put me on some mods where you can add the real world, aircraft skins, like British Airways or whatever, just all those paint jobs. So that's pretty cool. And it is very nerdy, but flight simulator games don't come out that often. How long has it been? Over 10 years since the last one. So, and it's just very, very good. So watch out for that in the Game of the Year show next week. That's the only hint I'm going to give. But yes, great. It's a great simulator, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with it in the future, because I know that they're going to keep on doing stuff to it, because what they've done is they did a Japan update and then they've done a USA update. So what they did with those updates is make those countries, like a lot of areas in those countries, they added, just made the graphics better in certain locations, just made them a bit more realistic, shall we say. And then they do these little tour that you can go on these little tours around in your plane that they do and stuff, and it's just pretty cool to see, especially in this time of COVID, where we can't even we're under fucking house arrest. We can't fucking go anywhere. This game is one of those little outlets that you can have to kind of travel around the world without leaving your house. So for a lot of people, it's kind of that little escape, which is really, really good for your mental health. So it's a very relaxing. So mate, I know you're laughing, but
No,
I'm being
I laugh because my mental health plummets when I leave my house. Not when I'm in
okay.
my house, when I leave it.
I'm the same.
Fair enough.
Like,
Fair
oh
enough. I
no,
mean, for a lot of people, there's a lot of people out there that do a lot of traveling, right? And they've been able to, or I've forgotten what a plane looks like. You're stuck in a tube with a load of people, and then you get a cold when you get off. But
Yeah.
you know, it is amazing, and it's a technical masterpiece. And if you're not into simulators or anything like that, at least you should be able to appreciate the technical achievement that this game simulator, sorry, is. It's amazing. It's that next level. And I believe they've added a VR update. I've not tried that out yet. I've not put my VR headset on for a while because it makes me feel fucking sick every
Nice.
time I use it. But they've added
The
a
more you
VR.
use it, the more you'll get used to it. To
Yeah,
be
I know,
honest.
I know. But yeah, they've added a VR update, so I'm quite keen to test that out at some point soon, and that'll be quite cool. But yeah, that's all I've played this week. It's been awesome. I've had an awesome gaming week. Who's next?
I suppose that'd be me then, wouldn't it? I guess if
Go
we're
on,
going
Darren.
from the start section. Haven't played obviously a massive bunch of games as per usual. But I have sort of stuck more time into sort of like some of my favourite games of the year, I believe, which I'll probably be talking about next week.
Yep.
Preview.
Yep.
So I've done a little bit more on Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Cool.
Still sort of plugging away at that. Starting to get pissed off with a couple of things with the game. But that's more of a design choice than the actual way the game is itself.
Oh, okay.
It's the fact that, you know, your daily missions
Yeah.
that you'll get to basically get your currency so you can get all the stuff that's locked away beyond microtransactions.
Oh
Yeah.
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 Yeah. When you get those, it generally does them by your power level and not how far through the game you are.
Ah.
So there's been quite a few times where I've had my daily mission right at the bottom of the map, like, which would mean I run through 2 or 3 areas I haven't even visited yet, just to get there to do my daily.
Oh, is that because you're like the power level of that region, so it thinks it's an okay
Yes.
place to put
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're fucking stupid and they can't be bothered to actually give you the missions in the fucking area where you take them.
That
Like in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, for example.
Right.
So the only way round it is to basically keep quitting out of the game, dashboarding it, fully quitting the game, reloading the game, going back in, and keep going up to the dude until you get a different mission.
You and your
And
dailies,
so doing
Darren.
the
You love
dailies,
those things, don't you?
yeah, so doing the dailies can take up to 40 minutes.
Oof.
And it literally takes like 2 or 3 minutes to do each one, but it can take up to half an hour of fucking about to actually get ones in the area that you're actually in. Because like I'm still only probably about 30% of the way through the story, so there's a lot of the areas I haven't gone round yet. But they just fling them all up in them areas, and I'm like, no, I'm not charging through that area. I want to explore everything properly. Sort of a thing. So that's one of my sort of like bugbears with the game, and I've had a couple more sort of like glitches with it here and there. But apart from that, I still really like the game. I think it's really well presented. The HDR and everything in the game is really good.
Yeah.
But I think that's because it was in Odyssey as well. Like they
Yes.
just kind of got the HDR down pat on them games where it just generally works as intended, or if not, it seems to work exactly as intended.
Yeah.
Like the way everything will get darker in a more enclosed area, and as the sun crests over, everything gets really bright and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the next update when they finally get rid of the fucking piss glitch as well.
Oh, I've heard about this glitch.
So
Yeah,
every time I'm loading into the game, my character's pissed out their face. And I could be stood next to the mission giver that gives you the daily missions, but when you spawn in piss, they don't spawn in either.
Oh.
So you have to do a quick teleport to the top of a steeple or whatever, and then when you're on the steeple, you're like, there they are! They were there the whole time! And sort of like go down. Like, it might be a console issue, so I'll be glad when they fucking get rid of that shite. Because it shouldn't have been there in the first place anyway. I mean, I hate playing the drinking games anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
They remind me of those fucking awful games from Final Fantasy remake. Like where you've got to do it in a rhythm, and then
Yeah,
if
I
you
know
get
what
out
you're
of
saying,
rhythm, your character completely slows down,
yeah,
and then the
yeah,
computer's just sitting there going, "I never fuck up."
yeah,
Dum 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 dum. And you're just like, yeah, whatever.
I had
yeah.
the opposite experience. I could not find an AI that could get more than like 5 or 6 in a row before it failed and had to start again.
All
Oh.
right.
Oh, okay. I mean, I didn't experience any issues when I was like that when I was playing through Valhalla. It's quite interesting hearing about these glitches because another one of our community members, Windows Wipers Bob, in the Discord channel, was saying that he played through Assassin's Creed Valhalla on the Series X, and he had loads of glitches and issues throughout his gameplay,
Um,
and he really struggled with it, and I didn't have any issues. I loved it. It was a great game.
Yeah, I mean, they're sort of on and off the issues to sort of like be, to be honest. I mean, one minute it'll piss you off, and the next minute you'll go into sort of like a certain combat situation, and you'll just absolutely beast every enemy, and you just
Yeah,
think, oh, I should have recorded that. Because you'd like finished every enemy with like a different stylish finisher, and
yeah,
plucked a spear out the air and plunged it through the head of the last dude, sort of a thing, and those
yeah.
kind of bits and bobs, and obviously having the nice, good old fights and battles with the was it the, I've forgotten what they're called, zealots, isn't it? Yeah, the zealots.
yeah,
Yeah.
the Order of the Ancient
It's like the
Cells.
mercenaries. I
Some of those
absolutely
are really
destroyed one of them the other day. Like, I don't think he even touched me before. I just absolutely beat the crap out of him. You know,
Brilliant.
like grab him, run him, smash him into a tree, smash him around the head.
Have
Do
you
the
done
old slow
any?
mo dodges constantly.
Have you done
Sorry,
any of the Daughters Ilarion fights?
I've done one of them.
I enjoyed those. They're like a really different fight to the sort of boss fights you get with the
Yeah,
Zealot.
I've heard. I think the one I had, the one I've done is, I think, one of the easier ones where they sort of like run up and get really close to you with loads of quick attacks. But I
Yeah.
managed to, because I've got the nice good old, like when you dodge at the perfect time, everything goes slow. I
Okay.
just managed to get around them by doing
Right,
that.
yeah.
So you just like slow down, whack, 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 try again, slow down, whack, 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 kind of thing.
Yeah, there's definitely some powers where that make some certain fights quite trivial, like being able to deflect projectiles. Like the amount of
Yes.
fights that makes trivial.
Cool. So,
Yeah.
how long do you think it'll be until you actually finish the main story, Darren? I mean, it seems to me that you're taking
Probably
your sweet
quite a
ass
lot.
time with this.
I am, like I said, about 30% of the way through it, and I'm about 75 hours through the game.
Fucking, you're nuts. You really.
I'm
This,
3% of the way through to complete, like total completion, and I've got like 60 hours in it. Like I don't know what you're doing.
Darren
I
does
just
this
go
on
around
every
doing.
SAC game, don't you, mate?
I just go around and clear the areas, like basically, and then once I've cleared everything and done the story, I'll move on to the next.
That is very time consuming, and you go
It is,
going
yeah.
after all the
It is. I
gold,
mean,
doing all
it's.
the other stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way I just do those games, to be honest. And I don't obviously hate it. There's other times where there's other people I know that I think rush through games and they don't get to see everything and appreciate everything,
Who are you talking about? Sly Almond again?
as it were. No, no, well, not necessarily, but there's people I know in real life as well that will basically be, they'll hammer through stuff. I know someone who fully completed Skyrim and got every achievement in under a week.
Wow, that's
And I
some
was
going.
like, what the fuck? Like, you do realise they're not going to make another one of these games for like 5 or 6 years, don't you? Like, it was like, oh, well, you know, blah, blah. I thought,
Done.
oh,
Next.
yeah, kind of thing. So, yeah, I've just always been like that. I like to take my time with things.
Yeah.
I don't like being rushed
Yeah,
through
yeah,
games.
that
Like,
makes sense.
there's, you sometimes, you'll obviously like, hear me moan with like certain events in certain games where it's like, oh, we're doing a so and so event. Like, they've got one on Black Desert, which I'll mention. I've been playing that as well. There was a Christmas event in Black Desert, which was up in the top left part of Olvia, I think it was, where it was like all done out in the Christmassy stuff with the sort of like weird snowmen that are done in the Black Spirit sort of image and everything, and it was really well done, and it actually snows and the snow settles and everything, and obviously, as you know, Webby, the graphics in the game are pretty good for an MMO.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I couldn't do any of the quests because I wanted to be level 50. So I was like, oh, that's interesting, considering I was on Final Fantasy 14 a couple of weeks ago, and I did the Christmas event on that, and you have to be level 15 because they want everyone who plays the game to be able to take part in the event and do the missions. That's how games usually work with MMOs and events. They do it so everyone can take part, but for some reason on this, it's like, oh, if you're not level 50 and you don't like PvP, go fuck yourself, basically. So I just went up there and looked at the area and milled around. I'm obviously trying out the new class Nova, which uses like a tower shield and a mace. Does like loads of ice damage and stuff. It's
Cool.
quite fun.
Okay.
I'm still plugging away at it. Do you want to know what's going to make me laugh, Webby? Make you laugh, Webby? I unlocked like an accomplishment in the game. I think it was about a week ago, and it was 3,000 hours total playtime.
Fuck
Oh,
me.
jeez.
And
You have spent more time in
And
Black
I've,
Desert than I have in Final Fantasy 14 since it launched in 2012.
I've only had Black Desert since, was it March or April
What?
this year or last year?
My
Sorry.
God, Darren, what the hell
How
are you doing with your
How do
life?
you do this?
That's
How do you have-
insane.
how do you have
3,000 hours.
How do you have 3,000 hours, but you're complaining about something being level gated? What have you?
Oh my
Well, no,
God.
the
Right, we've
reason
got...
I complain about the level gating in Black Desert is once you hit level 50, it's open season on every player. As soon as you go over level 50, it's open season.
Oh, so it's like linked to like PvP stuff as well.
Yes, this
Okay.
game, like I am locked out of at least over half of the game's content because I refuse to level over 50 and do the PvP. So you could be out in the wild fishing or doing whatever, and some prick can just come up and go, down you go.
Right, now I 100%.
And then obviously with Black Desert as well, a lot of it ties into crystals that you fuse into your gear to obviously give you better stats. And when you're killed, those shatter permanently. They just break. So you have to go and buy new ones for X millions of gold or whatever they are. So like that would really piss me off. So I just avoid it because I don't like PvP in general on most games, if any games anymore, to be honest, because it just pisses me off. I just refuse to, obviously. I play games for fun. I don't play games to get wound up by idiots. Basically, like there's no options where you can just literally say, I'd be fully in for an option where you say create a character and you can just permanently disable PvP, so you can't be attacked and you can never attack another player unless you enter like PvP specific content. But the reason games companies won't do that is because probably about 90% of the players would turn it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of MMOs, their resolution is to just split the servers into complete PvP and complete PvE.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's
See, there is a straight up PvP server on Black Desert where you can basically be PvP'd anywhere at any level. So even like when you're just starting out at level 1 or 2 or 3, you can just have someone just sitting and waiting for you. Sort of a thing. But I enjoy, like I said, I enjoy all the other aspects of the game as much as the sort of like the PvE content. So you got the gathering, the fishing, hunting, cooking, potion creating, processing, training. You like capture horses and like break them in and sell them on the market. Farming as well. Sailing I haven't done because I think that ventures out into the open waters, which again is open season basically there. So maybe within a few years or whatever, they might decide to open and get rid of the restriction on the PvP, because it did used to be about level 30 and then it was level 40 and then they moved it to level 50. So we shall see.
Cool. Play anything else?
Yes, indeed. Fortnite, I've played a bit with my mate Goose, as per usual. Slowly getting through that. We're in like the third area now. I think it
Save the
is. So
world.
yeah, I mean, we keep getting people from like it's like I'm not really up on like clans and all that sort of stuff, but I keep seeing a lot of like people with FaZe, FAZE.
Oh, that's an old school name, Phase. That's like an old COD,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah. So I keep ending up in games with some of them, like in
Okay.
PVE. But then again, it could be anyone that just decides to just put that in front of their name as a tag,
Yeah.
as like a fan or something. I don't know. But yeah, that's been mildly amusing. We've stayed clear of the Christmas event because it is literal liquid dog shit, and it has been for like the last 2 or 3 years. It's like one of the worst events they've ever done in the game, and for some reason they've kept it.
I'm amazed they still have that co-op part in there, to be honest.
It's tied into the actual game. I think you need the original Fortnite Save the World to actually launch Fortnite
Oh.
the actual Battle Royale thing.
Yeah, 'cause
Although maybe not, I'm not sure because obviously on the Switch that can't be the case because the Switch is only the Battle Royale, isn't it? It doesn't have the PVE, or should I say, doesn't have the original game of Fortnite on it.
Yeah, I know what you're
I
saying.
wonder if under the hood though it's just like missing the Save the World exe and it's like all file structures still the same.
Yeah.
All just dependencies because Fortnite originally was like a survival co-op pod game, I think, right? The
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Royale came later.
you build forts and you survive the night. It's in its name. I shocked like Goose's nephew because he was going on about like no, Save the World's different. Like Battle Royale was first, and I was like, you're having a laugh. I said like Battle Royale came out like about a year or so after. That's
Yeah.
why this mode exists, sort of a thing, and that's why you could earn the V-Bucks and stuff in it. So I'll jump into. Don't get me wrong, like the PVE or PvP stuff, I find useful anyway, because you can just jump in there and buy skins, because they've never actually bothered to give you anything worth buying with your V-Bucks in Save the World
Yeah.
at all, unless it's just card packs and stuff. But when you've been playing the game for 4 or something years, like I have on and off, you've got all the characters and the weapons and stuff. There's nothing to spend the V-Bucks on unless you want to go on there and buy like a breakdancing body popping emote or something, dressed up as I don't know, Psylocke from the X-Men
Yeah.
or one of the other sort of like bizarre characters they have. But yeah, we'll get off of Fortnite.
Yep.
I still will
Next.
never forgive the Star Wars tie-in.
Ugh.
Sat
They
there.
have done some pretty good tie-ins, to be honest. Like,
And they're
what is
doing
it?
a
They've had
Halo, and
that.
they've got Master Chief in it now, and
Yeah, they got Master Chief, Kratos from God of War, Michonne and Daryl from The Walking Dead.
I'm
Obviously the
amazed it's still.
Mandalorian.
I'm amazed it's still popular, to be honest.
Yeah, the Mandalorian's in there, and obviously you had all the X-Men and Marvel stuff. You've had DC stuff.
Yeah.
So they've always generally been quite good at sort of like keeping up with like the latest trends and stuff that's I suppose is going on. You get a lot of people that sort of say, "Oh, dead game," because obviously stopped playing it and stuff. But I think it's still really popular and it still makes them a ton of money.
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of the game that got Epic to make like the Epic Store and everything, because I don't think any of that would exist without Fortnite.
No.
I think Epic would still just be making the odd game here and there and
Making money off the engine.
using selling the Unreal Engine or whatever it is. Yeah. But yeah, then obviously along came their cash cow, and they couldn't believe their luck. Like,
Yeah.
to be honest, I imagine if you had shares in Epic before the
Oh.
Fortnite hit, oof,
Yeah.
I can only imagine. Yeah, but the other game I've been obviously ploughing a ton of time into the last week or last couple of weeks, and pretty much is in my head whenever I'm not playing it, is Cyberpunk.
Yes. Talk to
Which
me.
I am. It's such a good game. it pisses me off that obviously, like we've said this before, that unfortunately everyone can't have the same experiences with the game. That obviously people.
Hello.
Oh,
You there? I think he's
He
just cut out.
Oh.
Darren, we can't hear you. I've just kicked him to bring him back in. The joys of live streaming, eh?
Yeah. This is where the old pre-recorded ones all disappear through the magic of editing.
That's it. That's it. Come on, Darren.
Technology's on a roll tonight.
Yes.
What was I at before I got booted out?
Just start again because we didn't hear any of it.
Oh, none of it at all.
No.
Magical.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's a shame that not everyone can have the same experience.
Oh, right, yeah. I mean, I've had my fair share of glitches, like I think most people have. There was like an 8-foot ledge that I was trying to jump up the other day, with like some trash bags underneath it, and because I didn't make that jump, I fell down on the trash bags and just lost all my health in one straight go. It's like, oh, reload then.
Yeah, I had that a bunch, like vaulting over waist-high fences and dying when I hit the floor on the other side.
Yeah. There was one as well where I think I jumped down like from like out almost out of a window onto like onto a street and just went straight down. It was like, oh, that's good. Yeah, nothing was basically attacking me. I'd just taken someone out as well near the window and they dropped a legendary item. And when I reloaded the game, they didn't.
Oh.
So that was fun. I think it was only a component or something like that, but hey ho. So yeah, I will have the odd frustration with it, but it just does so much good
Yeah.
that sort of outweighs the stuff. I mean, I see the game as like again a long haul. I will say I've put 48 hours into it, and I am 15% through the main story and 20% through the other part of the main story, I believe, because you've got the three counters at the top.
Yeah.
One of them I think is tied to your street cred, and the other two are timed to obviously the main story missions and such.
Well, I have to say, I know I mentioned this in the Cyberpunk spoiler yesterday. I don't know if Delatov actually agrees with me or not. I actually felt that the main campaign itself was actually quite short. So I personally feel that if you just bang out the main story and don't do anything else, you can probably get it done in probably 10 to 12 hours, but then you'll be missing out on what the game is all about, to be honest. I think the side quests,
because
yeah,
because Johnny turns up in the side missions and gigs and stuff you're doing as well. So like if you just jump for all of that, that's not really going to happen, is it?
No, and doing a lot of this and doing certain side missions actually affects the ending of the game because you get. I mean, there's multiple choices at the end of the game. Not giving away any other spoilers, but some of them are tied to the side missions. So if you don't do, side missions, you don't get some of the ending options as well, and you're missing out on a lot of backstory for a lot of characters. And I think the side missions actually should be thought about as a main part of the game, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I'll definitely say that. I mean,
Yeah.
especially when obviously he pops out and comments on what's sort of going on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He must have really enjoyed doing that role, I can imagine.
Yeah, I bet.
Because some of his dialogue is hilarious. There was like a main mission I finished the other week. And he said something or other, and my response to him was like, "You're a real fucking dick, do you know that?" And he said, "Well, you're a cunt, so I guess we fit perfectly together."
There are some amazing lines that like are purely like because Keanu Reeves is famously such a nice guy, and then he'll just like sit there in the back of a sports car and just be like, "Yeah, well, I've got a better cock than you," and it's just like, "What is?" It's like, what? You were supposed to be the one.
But yeah, all the characters interest me so far. Like I haven't
Yeah.
met a single character that's kind of, and some of the storyline stuff as well gets quite bizarre. Like
Yeah.
I'll just say there's basically a side story about like this psycho's been kidnapping kids.
Yeah, we
Yes.
talked about that yesterday. Yeah.
And I was like, where's this going, man? This is
Yeah.
like fucked up.
Yeah,
And I thought, but this kind of stuff would go on,
Probably, yeah. It probably would, yeah.
especially considering it's like it's supposed to be a dystopian world and stuff, and
Yeah.
all the rest of it.
Yeah, it's really well done, and it's quite fresh because we had a long, a 2-hour discussion on it yesterday in the spoiler show.
which is not enough to talk about all
No,
the stuff.
it's not. Some of my, some of the major highlights for me in Cyberpunk are the side missions over the main quest line. To be honest with you, especially with certain characters, it gets quite emotional at times. It's really really well done. That's what I love about the game. All the characters are very believable. You do care about them, and I like the way that they keep in touch with you by sending you text messages and stuff as well. And you have like conversations as well, and it just makes the world and the characters feel a lot more believable. I think the storyline and the main quest and the side stuff, especially, is done so well, and you have to give props to the dev team for making it that good in that aspect. I mean, obviously, a big highlight. I mean, the main thing that's been talked about with Cyberpunk is all the glitches and the bugs, but I think what's been lost in the news is just how good quality the actual writing and the characterization is done within the game. It's so good.
It is.
The
Sorry,
only
Dan, finish on.
downside I will
Yeah.
say to the game that I've noticed as well,
Yeah.
which you probably both agree with me on as well, the game looks so much better at night time
Yes,
than it does
100%
in the day.
agree.
Like almost twice as good. Like it's like all the reflections and the lighting and everything. It all just seems so much better at night than it does in the daytime. Sometimes at the day it can look quite bland,
Yeah, it's exactly what I said
and then
yesterday.
at night it comes to life.
Yeah, yeah. I especially on the buildings. I think, as I said yesterday, I think they look a little bit flat during the day. To be honest.
Yeah,
But
like
I mean,
sidewalks as well, and
yeah, I mean the game
pavements
looks
and
good, but as I say, like at night, it just feels like they put a lot more effort into the game at night time than they did at the daytime, and I think it's more mainly the lighting. I don't know if the ray tracing for me helped on the PC version, just the reflections in the puddles and in the windows and just like the neon lights reflecting on the walls in general and stuff. It felt very cyberpunk at night, but during the day it just felt like a futuristic city, if that
yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
So usually whenever night turns up, I'm like, oh yeah, here we go.
That's when you're like, right, how many photos am I going to do in photo mode now? That was always my first thought. Right, I'm in a car, it's at night, I'm going to look out for some really good locations to get into photo mode to take some cool pictures to put on Twitter.
Yeah, finally bought my first motor today as well.
I went for the
I've
whole
been going
game.
with.
Yeah, I didn't buy a single.
right.
I didn't buy any cars. I bought 0.
Oh right, yeah,
Yeah.
because you do get some cars and stuff given to you for doing missions.
Yeah, there's a few, like, I found, like, a couple when I was, like, revisiting areas that are, like, out, like, off the beaten track that you would go through just in, like, story missions.
Oh, okay.
Exploring for, like, little Easter eggs and, like, potential gigs and stuff. Like, some of those have, like, items in them that didn't spawn, like unique legendary items that didn't spawn when I was in the story mission. They were only there when I came back later.
Ah, interesting.
And I managed to get like a car when I went to one of them, just like in a cargo container. And it was like one of the faster cars as well, so it was like.
Yeah.
Is it one you get to keep as well? Because like most of them,
once you get in, I got to keep it.
But yeah, I bought myself the Quattro 66.
Okay.
Yeah, that seems to be a favorite.
It's beautiful. It's a fucking lovely car. So I bought myself that and was like, yep, nice pimp. Here we go. I've started to sort of obviously establish my name, so I better have a car that better reflects my status, sort of a thing. And then went and spunked. I think it was like 20 something grand on like a mod for my neural implants that gives me like an extra 50% headshot damage. That's just
Nice.
cracking up. Like,
I don't think I
so
ever
yeah, the stuff.
headshot damage. Like, I'm still finding people who are like, oh, did you get one of these mods? I'm like, nah, I got like 7 of the same mod of different rarities, and everything.
Oh, I've had that. Yeah. I usually just sell the ones I'm not going to use or break them down for mats and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, my favourite car was the Porsche. Johnny's Porsche. That's fucking awesome, that car.
So just to have a little question,
Yeah.
are his items related to the main quest lines, or are they just randomly found as you're exploring the world?
They're all linked to side quests.
Right.
Not going to say which ones, because well, you'll do them all anyway, Darren. I know what you're like.
Probably, yeah. I'm slowly plundering my way through most things.
Yeah.
I found one of
But-
them as part of like a random gig. It wasn't even a main mission. Like, it was
Oh,
like a big story mission.
But yeah, I'm also quite happy to see that the game doesn't have an abundance of just set pieces every single mission.
yeah.
So I was given a side quest mission, you know, one of the ones where it's like, oh, I want you to get in and get this information and then bring it back to me,
Yeah.
sort of a thing. So you'd sort of get in, take a couple of people down stealthily because those people are in the gang that the person wants me to do the mission for incognito. So I thought, a bit of role play seems a bit disrespectful to kill her own people to get that. And then just thought, right, oh, that was easy. I've got the thing. Am I going to get now some set piece gunfight as I'm coming out? And no, I didn't, which I thought again adds a bit more realism to the game, in my opinion, rather than just having set pieces every single mission you go into, like some
Yeah.
games like doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I found a lot of those like little gigs sort of like naturally creating like action movie style like set pieces. Like, I
Yeah.
had one where I was like, I had to sneak into a dojo, and I'm like slowly making my way in. Like, I sneak in through the like the rooftop. Like, I open a window on the like a skylight. I climb in and I find a guy in the basement. But because I'm having to like escort this guy out of the dojo, I can't go back out through the skylight. So I'm having to like slowly like work my way through like an old storage room where there's like a thing knocked over, and as I'm like hacking my way through the door, like some guy just walks in, and now I'm in like a dojo punch out. Beating people up in a dojo.
I mean, on those escort missions, it's quite funny because it has that old video game trope of the enemies can see you, but they can't see the person you're escorting. So if you're like hiding behind
Oh,
the
yes.
wall, and then you'll see the person you're escorting just walking right in front
Running
of the
all
guards.
over the place.
Yeah, and the guards are just standing there, not
Funny if
fucking
they're,
doing
like, stuck in
anything.
the doorway, because they'll run at you at like 400,000 miles an hour.
Yeah.
To make sure that they keep up and don't just break the game.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah,
I
there
don't know,
was
I guess
also-
they've got cybernetic legs.
Yeah, there was also a little bit of news about it, wasn't there, today? They are still going ahead, apparently, with a planned DLC
Yes.
free release soon, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll
Which
see
is
how that
supposed
works
to
out.
have. Yeah, I think it's. They said it's going to cause you to make like tough choices and things like that because, as far as I know, obviously most of the fixes you get in the game are affiliated with different gangs.
Hmm.
And they don't kind of get pissed off when you're going around wiping out all of their gang members on the streets.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
despite
that
the fact
makes
you're,
any sense.
your street cred is increasing, they clearly know you did it.
Yeah, well, there's been a few where it's like, oh, you've seen my face, so I can't let any of you live, kind of thing, going to the RP in again. Sort of aspects of it all. But yeah, just I think everyone's sort of covered most of it, but it's just a really, really well crafted game. Apart from obviously the weird bugs and stuff in it. I mean, I
Yeah.
stumbled across the museum today.
Mhm.
In fact, while I was going after one of those graffiti tarot things
Oh yeah.
that are sort of dotted about, where there's like a memorial to the explosion that a certain character does so many years ago in the main storyline. There's like an actual museum. I imagine
Yeah.
that's probably tied into something later in the game. Like a lot of things in the game you seem to come across, I imagine, are linked to obviously other things and missions that you will get given.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of the tarot cards tend to like intersect.
Yeah, because I found on missions Delatov where because I couldn't really be fucked with the tarot cards to be honest, and then I would be doing missions. I'd be like, oh, there's a tarot card place right there. I'll go look at it.
Mm.
Yeah, like there's like little ones, but like a lot of them tend to be like obviously like and ironically linked. Where like there's you go to Arasaka Tower. Oh, what card's on the side of Arasaka Tower? Oh, it's the tarot card, the tower. But then others are a little bit more subtle, where I forget what the name of the card is, but there is you find like Takamura, like, and he has a contact who is like related to his backstory. But the tarot card in that area of the map, I think the description of that is a talk about like respect for tradition and a return to authority.
Mhm.
And so it's like, oh, there's like this corporate guy meeting his like a respected old friend is sort of like represented by this card as like a return to authority because he's a corporate figure, like a corporate like character. And so like that's quite like a nice touch that a lot of it intersects.
Yeah.
There's so many nice touches in the game. Like it's so good that the game is so multicultural as well. The fact that there's so many people in the world that just speak their own languages, but it's translated on the screen. Like you can
Yeah.
see
Yeah,
the
that's
actual
cool.
kanji and stuff from or Chinese and that being translated above
Yeah.
it, because obviously everyone's got cyberware, so
Mhm.
it would make the translation stuff easy. And it was like I was walking through one of the areas earlier on, and there was like a bloke there chatting to his little child and stuff, and they were obviously like Caribbean, like with really thick Caribbean accents and everything. And I was like, so cool that you've got all these different sort of accents and people who have all come to this sort of city, because that's exactly what cities are actually like.
Yeah. Yeah. You look, well,
Generally,
you
in
just got to go
most
to
places
London,
of the
haven't you?
world, in
You know.
America,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like obviously places like Japan and certain other parts of the world are sort of like far less of that to a
Yeah.
certain degree,
Yeah.
but places like America and most Western places is like so many different people from all over.
Yeah.
One of the things I hope they do add to the game later on, I don't know whether you mentioned this yesterday, is the option to try on clothes before you buy them, because you can't actually see what they're like.
I didn't even bother with clothes, man.
Oh, you didn't?
Obviously in my
Did you
inventory,
Did you go around like you
looking like
just stumbled out of Oxfam or something,
pretty
like the
much.
bargain bin at
I
Oxfam?
just equipped the high stat stuff. I looked like a fucking dickhead the whole time I played the game. I didn't give a shit.
When I hit the point where it was like the cyberpunk like splash screen, like the title screen, I was like wielding a katana, wearing a fedora. I had the power of anime on my side, right?
Brilliant.
Yeah, you'll go into like a shop and they've got all these different clothes for sale and everything, but you don't know what they actually look like, and the pictures sometimes don't represent what those clothes actually look like when you've got them on.
Oh, okay.
Especially like
But
colors
then,
sometimes don't match at all.
yeah, that's the thing. I like being color coordinated generally. So it was like I was running around yesterday, found my first legendary item. It was a pair of like stiletto steel pumps. Something stupid.
Oh man.
And I was like, I'm gonna have to change my entire outfit, otherwise it's just gonna look completely odd. And then I was like,
Got
yeah, that'll
one.
do, that'll do. I'll sacrifice maybe like 10 or 12 armor rating just to actually have my character not look like a complete twat, pretty much.
I found the most overkill pair of like trousers that were just like I just got really lucky. Like legendary trousers with like 3 mod slots that like all had like really high rarity like armor mods on them. So I couldn't
Nice.
afford to give them up ever. So for like 30 hours of content, I was just sat there with bright metallic gold slacks. And I would the time I found better trousers, I was like, no, it's on brand. I can't get rid of them. They're too stupid. Like, I've got photographs of me like in Japantown with like a big parade going on in the background, like beating up bosses. Like they've been with me the whole game. I can't get rid of them.
Yeah, there are rumours that they're going to add, or they might be adding like a transmog system to the game. So as long as you've got like another item in your like inventory or back at your apartment or whatever, you can make that item take on the appearance of something else.
Okay.
That would be sort of nice because the crafting system.
So that way you could
really
you could have like loads of different outfits and stuff depending on like your situations and the moments you want to go out on, sort of a thing. Because obviously, if you're wearing an evening suit or something, you don't really want to be running around in the Badlands.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But even there, like
Badlands, who cares, man?
Yeah.
Got to
even
show
the Badlands are
dress.
pretty well done to a certain degree, I think, as well.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the Badlands stuff in there.
I actually quite like the Badlands in the day. Like even though in the city it looks really nice at night, like during the day it just looks way more like it really brings out like the red like sand in like certain areas and stuff. Like it does bring like a completely different color palette. Like it's bizarre.
There was one person I created myself like an amusing moment the other day when I think I was in the Badlands and I was driving back to the city to do one of the main missions, and there was like some gangster from one of the different groups basically like sticking up some woman by the side of the road. So I cycled right behind him, took him down silently. She hurled abuse at me and then ran off screaming, which is quite bizarre considering this dude had a gun in her face. And there's been multiple times when you'll just watch them get gunned down if you take too long, kind of a thing. But yeah, I whacked him in the back of my car and I drove him all the way to the city of the mission and just parked my car up with the dude in the boot and just got out and wandered off. I just thought that'd be quite funny for him to wake up in a boot in the car like miles away from where he's come from and that.
That's just Fallout like New Vegas fodder right there, isn't it? Like he just wakes up in the middle of like the California desert. Like got a horrible concussion. He doesn't know what the hell happened.
You'll even get those missions, aren't there? There's quite a few where they want you to basically escort someone.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a few.
There was one I had to escort a dude out of a container, like cargo container somewhere, and take like literally throw him in the boot of my car and take him to someone. And then he got out and he's like, "Oh yeah, thanks for that," and everything. I was like, "What the fuck?" And he's like, "Yeah."
If you talk to him like, "Oh, number one brain surgeon in Japan" or something.
That's the dude. That's the exact dude. Yeah.
Oh, funny.
Oh. But anyway, that's enough of Cyberpunk, and pretty much I'll pretty much end what I've been playing there.
All right, Delatoff.
It's been no, sorry.
Oh,
sorry, I do apologise.
He's got yet another game.
I have indeed. I have played through all of the missions on Legends mode on Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh, I still haven't picked up Ghost of Tsushima.
Great game.
Oh, you should. You should. So basically, Legends mode is the online multiplayer co-op mode that they added to the game for absolutely no price whatsoever, completely free for everyone. Only downside is you obviously need a PS Plus subscription to play it, but I thankfully picked up a year's worth of PS Plus in the sale just before Christmas, so it was about £35 for a year. So it was like I might as well.
You get all the free games and stuff as well, right? Like it's a lot of value for £35.
I don't download them, so
nah,
it's fine. So yeah, it's a class-based mode. So you've got like I think it's Hunter uses a bow, Samurai, generic Ronins like your healing class, and then you've got like an assassin class, and they all sort of excel in different aspects of like combat and ranged combat and stuff. And it's all set in amongst sort of like a demon infused storyline. So you all
That's
play
super
sort of like undead characters going up against other undead Mongols. And all the parts of the I think they reuse assets of areas of the game, and obviously they're cordoned off for sort of certain areas for the mission itself. And each mission will have you doing different things. So there was like one of the missions where you meet like a dead archer, and he gives you like a spirit bow, which you then have to use on enemies that have got a coloured spirit around them. And you
Okay.
stun them with that, which gets rid of the enchantment that they've got on them, and then you can kill them. And then there was other ones where you had to take out like basically like these undead shrine people that can heal all the enemies around them constantly until they're taken out. You also fight against like giant sort of Oni demon, sort of big old boys that give you a good old kicking if you're not too what's it. But I think there's something like 9 or 10 missions, and each mission's split up into I think it's 3 chapters.
Okay.
And each time you're progressing through the chapters, you go through like one of those Torii gates, and while you're transitioning through to the next area, the Torii gates are themed with the missions as well. So you'll have like these weird demonic statues or forests, or like dead ships with all these bodies floating in midair
Wow.
and stuff, and it all looks really fucking good.
Awesome.
Sort of a thing. I'm obviously playing on the PS5 version of it, even though it's just like upgraded, but it runs at 60 FPS instead of 30.
Yeah.
Sort of a thing. So it just felt super smooth, and
Yeah.
everything. It felt how I remembered the game to be. But if I
Mm.
probably went back to it on PS4, I'd be like, oh, it feels a little bit choppier now than what I remember. But that's just because I'm used to that. But yeah, there's like a multitude of unlocks. You're constantly getting gear from doing the missions. So you get better gear to level up your gear score, to then do higher difficulties to get other stuff. And when you're on the higher difficulties, you can find like demon chests, which give you more gear and more items.
Mm.
All the time you're using each of these classes, you're unlocking like cosmetic outfits for them and stuff. So I think at the moment, or maybe permanently, I don't know if it's just a special event, but for each of the classes you do, when you complete a level as one of those classes, you'll unlock an outfit which is inspired by a PlayStation franchise.
Oh, okay. That sounds cool.
So I decided to go as the Ronin class, which is the healing class. It means my special ability is I'll like levitate in the air and do an incantation, and anyone who's downed around me, they just get rezzed straight up again.
Yeah.
And I unlocked like an outfit that's Bloodborne inspired. So it's like a complete cape full of like feathers and stuff that are constantly like falling off. You've got challenges as well that you can complete to unlock other sort of like gear and cosmetics and stuff. Like some of the stuff looks really cool. Like one of the Ronin outfits that I really want is like the body is being like completely pierced with multiple projectiles. And
That
then the
sounds cool.
helmet's like one of those basket helmets that you used to get in a lot of the sort of the older sort of samurai kind of stuff, but it's got like loads of swords jammed through it, and there's like blood dripping out and everything.
Like
That's
a horror
cool.
sword
Yeah, it just looks proper horrific sort of a thing. But yeah, there's like a survival mode in it as well, which is up to 4-player. Unfortunately, the actual campaign missions are only 2-player co-op, but I'd imagine if there's 4 of you, it'd just be ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. That
Bit
still
of a
sounds
thing.
good
But
though.
yeah,
It does sound good.
there's like a 4-player survival mode in the game as well, plus a raid mode
Oh,
that
that
you can
sounds
only take
cool.
part in once you've unlocked like up to 100 gear score, I think it is.
Okay.
So there's a ton of content there for free, and to keep sort of people playing it and everything.
Cool.
But yeah, I just thought I'd mention it.
Yeah, it sounds good, man.
Just
I've
might
not had a
have
chance
to
to
get that
play it
in there.
yet. I
Yeah,
haven't done the
it's definitely
PlayStation
good.
for a
Like
while. Yeah.
when you're playing in co-op with people and it's like, right, there's 2 people on the road, right, if you go this side, I'll work my way around there, right, 3, 2, 1, go, perfect, like double assassin takedown. And as you know, Webby, like some of the assassination takedowns in that are brutal.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Like where you'll just jam a Tanto blade right into their face, wrench it, and then just pull it down.
Gory as
Just
fuck.
like, yeah. It's like, oh, there you go. Have that, you annoying bastard. But then
Cool.
it still has the same sort of thing where things can go tits up real quick. And
Cool.
I think at the moment, when you're playing the game, what threw me off is when you're obviously playing the game normally in the story mode, you can deflect arrows and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
In that mode, there's only one class that has that ability, as far as I can work out.
Oh, okay. Fair.
So I was constantly trying to block like these annoying archer filth.
And you couldn't do it.
No, and getting mullered by them
Oh,
like
that's
over
annoying.
and over again. And so whenever like they'd appear, it'd be like, fucking having the archer now. Got to get rid of him, otherwise he'll just keep picking away at us. It's co-op games that sort of like work like that. You just end up with like plenty of like high five moments when things go well, and even just backups where it's like, right, I'll draw them out, then we'll pull them in here, and then I'll move around behind them and start stabbing them up in the back. Some of the things you actually can't take down in one assassination, like the big Baroni and stuff, they don't like that. They'll just take like critical damage.
Yeah.
But we worked out if you both do the assassination at the same time, you both like jump on the back and just continuously stab them to the floor until they're dead.
Oh.
It's great. But yeah, anyway, that's it. I'm finally done.
All right, Donatov, you can finally speak.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, I've not really been playing too much because the old graphics card death has sort of limited my games to play. But
Yeah.
with the Steam
Oh,
sale
what's
on,
happened? Did your card go kaput? Did it?
yeah, like after I like completed like basically all of Valhalla and all of Cyberpunk, and then like 3 days later, my graphics card died. So
It isn't one of the new ones, is it?
no, it's like 6 years old or something at this point. It was an
Oh,
old
right,
980
yeah.
Ti, so like it wasn't.
Perfect excuse to upgrade.
Yeah, it's just a shame that the market for graphics cards is like completely broken over the knee at the minute. Like everything is like either sold out or like ridiculously inflated price.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, I'm not in any like dire emergency now that like most of the brand new releases that I was like worried about playing, I managed to get out of the way before it died. But
Nice. Yeah, still frustrating though, isn't it?
oh yeah, I was fuming for like 3 days.
I can imagine.
Like
I'd be the
constantly
same.
refreshing like 5 different tabs of like shops. It's like, please get another card in, any card, any card that was made in the last like 3 years. Come on. But with the Steam sale on, I did go back and play like an old game. Well, not that old, but RimWorld, which is like a little colony management game.
Mhm.
So you the scenario for those who don't know is just like a in the far flung future, like a ship full of people in like cryopods, like has some kind of emergency, and like 3 people land on a planet, and they have to like deal with like all kinds of crazy factions and events that happen and try and either escape somehow. And it's like you can either build a ship of your own, find and steal someone else's ship, or like woo the local like
Wench.
pseudo nobility by like doing quests, earning titles, and then eventually like getting like a count to like stay there, and you make friends with them and you leave. But so I've got this like 140 hours of just sitting watching like these little like pod people like just grow crops and try not to starve. And some of the just dumb stuff that happens, like somebody desperately like taming hares and squirrels so that I can slaughter them for a meager meal in the winter. And finally, they're good enough that I can tame the vicious mega sloth to defend my house. And the double whammy of I finally tame the mega sloth of like 2.1% taming chances every day until finally I get him and I build him a barn and he sits down and a comet made of pure gold instantly crushes him.
Weird.
I'm like, oh no, but I do get to mine all the gold and buy another one. I'm like, but the odds of this are astronomical. What are the odds of them having another sloth? Like, so it is bizarre and wonderful in like only the way that this one game can ever be, in like simultaneously frustrating and frustrating, but also very enjoyable.
It looks like a phone game. I'm just looking at it.
Oh yeah, it was like a little early access game, like little indie like early access game from like years gone by.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a lot of fun. It's not for everybody, obviously.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's what I've been doing. I went back and I played an old MMO that released recently on Steam, Phantasy Star Online 2, because I remember
Yes.
playing a lot of that. Like, well, first the Phantasy Star Universe, which was the 360 like MMO, like like console and PC like one back in the day. And then I remember like the old when
Play
the beta
online
was
viewer.
out. What?
Play online viewer. You needed to play Phantasy Star Online, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back on the 360, I think originally.
There's all
Fantasy
kinds of
Star
like.
Online. That was no. You're thinking of Final Fantasy 11, mate. Was a play online viewer.
Was that play online viewer? What was the one you needed for Phantasy Star on 360? There
I
was
didn't think there
one
was a
that
Fantasy Star. I thought it was it was Dreamcast.
Dreamcast for the original Phantasy Star
No,
Online.
there was one on the 360. I've got it.
And then there was
Oh, I didn't-
Fantasy
oh.
Star something.
Star Universe was on the
Ah,
360.
okay.
That's the one. Yeah.
And then they had like the Ambition of the Illuminous expansion or something like that.
You did have to pay a monthly subscription
did,
to play
yeah.
the online portion of the game, which was kind of annoying.
It was, but when the like Ambition of the like the big like expansion pack came out, they released like the free quote unquote demo, which was just the entirety of the original base online game. And that
Yeah,
was
I think
all
I played
that
the
was all
demo.
then free. And there was some restrictions on it because there was like big inventory overhauls that you didn't get access to because you weren't paying the subscription. But
So, what's
like,
your thoughts on Fantasy Star Online 2 then? Because I've played this a little bit, and I think it's quite
It
good, but I've not put
it is
much
really
time into
good.
it. Yeah.
Like I've basically been playing it as like, oh, because I've got like a friend who's big into it and he's like joined an alliance and he plays it because he's like working from home at the minute, so like that's just like what he does when there's like downtime when he's not got anything he has to do. He'll just sort of like clock out, play Fantasy Star Online 2, and then when he has to clock in and check something, he can just pause it, alt tab it, because the missions are fairly short. Like a mission doesn't really take more than like 15 minutes at most, even if it's like something quite tricky.
Yeah.
And then I've just been like hopping on.
Fantasy
Like,
Star Universe was 2004.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It's a really long time ago. And I remember playing the beta for PSO2 back when like it was like Japan only and it had to use like a VPN to like Thailand or something. I know
Yeah,
that
it took
like,
ages for America to get a translation.
Years. It took years for it to come out outside of Japan.
I think
Absolutely
it was like
years.
2012 or something. It was originally released in its beta form in Japan or something.
Something ridiculous like that. Yeah.
Did either of you watch the new sort of like presentation they did? I think it was about a month ago now for the new updated version of
Yeah, they're
PSO2.
revamping it completely, aren't they?
Yeah,
it's like its own,
they're making
like,
it more sort of
one.
more sort of like looks more fluid. If that makes any sense.
And like it looks good, and I don't think it's how do I frame it? Like, so just on the vanilla classes for PSO2, a lot of them do play a bit like an MMO character from 8 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Especially like the hunter with the like the big two-handed sword. Like they've got some like abilities that allow them to just like, you know, you can cancel into a block and just like run at 100 miles an hour until you run out of energy.
It reminds me of
But-
Monster Hunter as well.
A little bit, yeah.
Mm.
Like, especially with like sort of how you play with like the big two-handed sword, where you sort of have to pick your moment because it has like no real maneuverability. You just have to
Yeah.
find the bit where the monster isn't going to hit you, and you just do uppercut, fall slash, uppercut, fall slash like 500 times until it dies. But I haven't played since like more or less since it came out in the on the Microsoft Store,
Yeah.
and then I reinstalled it on Steam
Mhm.
like 2 or 3 months ago, and so I've finally leveled up like Braver and Hunter to the point where I could play the new like Scion classes because they
Right.
required you to have 2 different classes at level 85 to unlock them.
That's fucking annoying, isn't it?
It is a bit weird. So that took me like 40 hours.
Do
of
you
just
go on the same
grinding.
servers as the Microsoft Store version?
Yes, like you
Because
just when you go to log in, like I think you pick a ship,
yes, you pick the ship.
and-
Yep, so that's
and
what I've
then
done.
you.
I'm on ship 1.
Oh, I'm on ship 2,
Um,
unfortunately.
but the only reason I've kept it installed on Windows is because of the achievements. That's it. You get
Oh, yeah,
achievos
Yeah, I will.
on game. Yeah.
I will say, from what I garnered by this presentation that they showed off the other day, they're going to run side by side. PSO2 and obviously this new upgrade runs side by side because apparently you can just switch between each one.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's going to
okay.
be like the same character, but it's going to have its own like economy and it's like its own abilities and classes that are like
That's
But yeah,
weird.
some of the cosmetics and that carry over and that. I think that's a sensible idea because with any MMO, people are going to put a lot of time into them and investment, and it's nice to have that investment sort of carried over
Yeah, I
in
know.
some
Yeah.
effect rather than just toss it all to the side and out with the old, in with the new kind of thing.
When's this new
So
content coming out anyway?
I believe it's going to be some point this year,
Okay.
possibly. I mean,
Yeah.
from what they've showed off, it looks like it's reasonably done, or reasonably
might,
close to being done.
I might jump on it with you, Delatov. I might make a character on ship 2 and play with you. You fancy some games?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I've got like like a bunch of like classes that I haven't even touched, and for every class you get to like level 75, you get like a title that gives you like little stat upgrades, and so some of them are quite useful. Like,
So I'll have
like
to
some,
start again. I'll have to start again when I. No shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you change ship, you have to start
Yeah,
again.
that's fine. I mean, I've got those because if you have it on the Windows Store, you get like packs every now and again. Like they gift you stuff. So I've got a load of stuff, items and shit that I can use. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. So, good times.
Yeah. Yeah, the Scion classes are way more like maneuverable and mobile. It's weird. Like Hero can just basically fly. Like I've been leveling up Phantom, which is weird going from Braver because I primarily played Braver, which is like about katanas and bows, and you parry with the katana to build up a release gauge, and when that fills up, you get a bunch of buffs. But Phantom doesn't have a parry mechanic at all, and it's all about
Okay.
like using photon arts and the weapon art. They all have like invincibility, so basically everything they have is some kind of like Shoryuken from Street Fighter. Effectively, you just like attack through bosses, which is a completely different. It's like similar to a parry, I guess, right? Because you don't care when the boss attacks as long as you press the button at the right time. You just go through it and hit them. But they're just way more mobile, and so like seeing how you've got these big open spaces in this like new standalone like version, like expansion, effectively, or like new like game, like that's looking to be like even more like fluid and mobile.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you've got certain characters that can. I think there's even a magical class that can use close DPS attacks as well. Like it can go
Yeah.
ranged with magic, but then it can also run in close and do a lot of damage at melee range.
Yeah, because like, which I think also comes from like a bit of the success of how like the Scion classes are designed. Because like Phantom can use like katana as a melee weapon, the rifles as a ranged weapon, and then it also gets for like the spell casting stuff. It can use like rods, but because the Scion classes have unique like weapon abilities that you can only get when you're playing those Scion classes. For the rod with a phantom, you're just running up and clubbing people to death with them at light speed, like pointing at them like a little mark, like a little orb appears. You mark them, and at any point, you can just be like, "I'm going to teleport over to that guy and put him into the floor." It's just like complete, and then also have all of these spells on tap. You know, so if you're fighting a flyer, you can just like turn around, bop them with a meteorite or something stupid, like wall of flame, a big like wall of like crazy goblins or something. Like it, you just get so much versatility, and you can just all kinds of crazy movement.
Are you are locked into whatever class you choose? I take it on
No,
Fantasy Star.
you can change class at any time.
Oh, that's
and
good.
Classes are saved. And then whenever you get to like level 75 with the class titles, those aren't applied to a class. They're applied specifically to your character. So those are permanent buffs that are like universally applicable.
Nice.
So there's like there's like weird like recommended level orders that some people have because like, oh, if you pick these classes, like this class with this subclass, then like you'll get a bunch of defense buffs when they hit 75, and then that means you can like equip the same armor across any of your other classes because you've got all these defensive abilities that lets you just carry over all of your ridiculously high level armor. And there's some people like, no, the best thing to do is to pick these other combination of classes because then you can always just use whatever gun you want, regardless of whatever the class is. And it's like, oh, like it's so arbitrary to whatever you want at that point. Like, do you want to use guns or do you want to use magic? Just play the class that uses guns and magic, and don't really worry about the rest because you reach the point where when your class and subclass are like level 95, what does it matter if you've got 5 extra base attack when your sword alone has over 4,000?
What's the level cap currently?
It's 95 at the minute, I think. Yeah, it's 95 at the minute. And there's a bit of like a bizarre situation where on the 8th of December, episode 6 was supposed to drop, which is like the latest expansion. But it was like buggy to high heaven. And so they like removed a bunch of that stuff, bar like a few of the event quests that did work fine, and they've kept those. But in Japan, their level cap is 100, and they've got the new class, and they can do that content. So, like we were supposed to be like all synced up at this point, and we're just not. And when you like are in loading screens, it still says like episode 6 drops December 8th. I'm like, well, I guess it did for like 3 hours before it broke everything and you pulled it, but only from us and not Japan.
Cool. You played anything else, Denatov?
Been dipping a lot of time into Tekken 7, which is just like my fighting game of choice these days. Just
Yep.
like occasionally like drop in, like sometimes pick a new character. I'm picking Bob, big fat Bob.
Oh, apparently, the main guy behind Tekken is currently at work on Bandai Namco's most expensive. Yeah.
Katsuhiro Harada, which is interesting because who the hell knows what that game is at this point?
I don't know. All I know is if people don't like it, he doesn't care because he's another good developer who just tells people if you don't like it, tough. There you go.
Good lad.
Makes games for himself. I do like that. He's quite adult about it. He doesn't like have like Phil Fish tier meltdowns about like, oh, but it's my artistic vision. He's just like, well, then what can I do? I'm only like I'm gonna make a game that seems fun to me, I guess.
Yeah.
Like,
most of the complaints I see people giving him online is usually stuff about either netcode or PvP balance or player balance.
Yeah, like
character balancing issues and stuff.
The netcode was pretty awful when it first came out. Like it is way better now. Like the patch that came out a couple of months ago is like definitely, I think it's something like 20% more people are playing it concurrently now than before the netcode patch because it's just more fun and better to play, and you play with more people with a good connection. Which for a fighting
Yeah, the
game
other
is basically like required. If you can't play against people without it being a laggy mess, then like you've just got training mode. Like eventually.
one of the other out of the blues, I think it was this week, possibly could have been mentioned in the news, but I've only just remembered it, is Arc System Works.
Oh yeah.
I've announced a new fighting game based on D&D, which is
Okay.
apparently like an absolutely huge like Korean MMO.
Oh, cool. Okay, that sounds awesome.
I mean, I'm always interested in like their fighting games in general because their presentation is like second to none. I just don't
Yeah,
like
that games look beautiful.
their DLC practice when it comes to characters and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, like fighting games historically have done a piss poor job when it comes to like balancing like business and like playability for consumers, like not being able to practice against a character when a lot of their advertisements like, oh, you can like jump in, like play with people all over the world, and look at our sick tournament you can join. It's like cool. Look at all these sick tournaments where there are people playing characters I'm not allowed to see. Which is a problem. It's a bit of a shame. I did play one other game. It's just a demo on
Yep.
of like a game that's not out yet called The Last Spell.
The last spell.
The Last Spell, and it's sort of like a little like pixel art, turn-based like tactics game, where the sort of conceit is you have this little persistent town that you have to defend against like this evil mist that just spawns zombies, and the zombies are trying to eat the town. And the reason it's called The Last Spell is because there is a group of wizards in the town that if you can buy them enough time can cast a spell that will wipe out all of the mist and like all of the zombies, and you can I guess run happily into the sunset that you've not seen in like however long this evil mist has been hanging around. But it is like kind of ridiculous how many zombies because you have to fight, because it's like, oh yeah, you get 3 people, and in the demo you get like the first 5 days of like a horribly sort of unbalanced mess because it's a demo and it's like designed to sort of ramp up very quickly because it's a demo.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh yeah, you've got like 3 people on the first night, and you hit the like, okay, I'm going to deploy my people. Like, oh, they're going to attack from the west. Okay, I'm going to put like, I've got a range guy, I'll put him at the back, and a melee guy up front, and they've all got like random like little traits and gear. And then it's like, cool, I reckon I can hold a choke point with these 2 trees. And it's like, turn 1, 49 zombies turn up. Oh god, no. You kill like 10 zombies, turn 2, another 30 zombies. Oh no. And they just don't care about the 3 people in the trees. They're running for the town. They're going to kill the wizards. It's like,
Does anyone remember a game from probably over 20 years ago called The Horde?
no, but I don't remember much from over 20 years
I
ago.
believe it launched on. I believe it launched on sort of like PC, and it was definitely on the 3DO because that was the version of it I played. But it was a similar thing. You were like a villager, and then you had a certain amount of time to set up defences, and then you'd have like it'd be like the horde is coming, and you'd hear like a horn noise or something,
Okay.
and you'd just get barraged from sort of all different directions by all these weird creatures, and it just that's what it reminded me of. You just got to fend them off for as long as possible until like daybreak or something, and then they all go away again.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I liked it. It's pretty promising. It's sort of got a nice like roguelike and like sort of turn-based tactics like vibe and conceit that I vibe it.
Cool. Oh, I'm
Yep.
glad. Is that it?
Yeah, that's basically everything, I think.
Awesome. Right, so we do questions. We've only had one question, so it's not going to take long at all.
All right.
Paul Johnson says, what big release are you looking forward to this year? Here's his Breath of the Wild 2, hopefully. I don't think it's going to be out, is it? Breath of the Wild 2?
Oh, I don't know. I don't really follow like Nintendo consoles and like games much, just because I don't really play consoles much in general, like anyway.
Yeah,
these
yeah.
days.
I'm looking forward to Back for Blood after playing the alpha. That's going to be a really big highlight for me. I can't actually think of any other games that I know that are even coming out this year, to be honest, that I'm hyped for.
Resident Evil 8.
Well, yeah,
Oh,
okay. That'll
God,
be good.
yeah.
Yeah. What else is coming out?
Also, did you hear apparently the voice actors for Sephiroth and Aerith have finished recording all of their voice lines for obviously the next
Final Fantasy.
in the remake series, yeah, or
Oh,
remake.
nice.
Who cares about that junk? He's in Smash.
Woo!
Yeah.
I was thinking the new Far Cry's out this year, isn't it? That'll be decent.
That's out quite early, isn't it?
That's out next month, isn't it? February, March.
March, I think, something like that.
Yeah, I hope it's not a broken mess like Watch Dogs was.
I think they breathed a sigh of relief, to be honest, with Valhalla.
Yes, I can imagine. So.
After the sort of like issues that everyone had with Watch Dogs. I mean, obviously Valhalla hasn't been perfect by any means, but they've done a hell of a job fixing most of the issues people had with that.
Mm. Yeah, you got
And
the Medium is out as well, isn't it? But that's on Game Pass, so I won't have to buy that.
yeah, that was put back, wasn't it? It was originally
Yeah.
supposed to have been out around the sort of end of last year.
Yeah.
What about Stalker? I saw something about that.
Yeah. I don't think that has a release date yet, does
No,
it?
I doubt it'll be this year.
Trailers.
But if it is, awesome.
Halo will be this year.
Yes, I'm really looking forward to
Yeah.
Halo. Again, Game Pass, so that's all
What's
good.
his name? Craig the Brute.
Yes. Brilliant.
They actually turned that into like a meme, didn't they? I think they
Yes.
said.
Yeah.
Like with the developers actually wearing T-shirts and stuff around the office
Yeah.
and that.
I like it when devs are like self-aware. Like, 'cause
Yeah.
it's difficult to strike that balance between being self-aware and just like coming across as like really aloof.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, some of the, it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of the developers weren't actually kind of relieved
Yeah, because I imagine like they probably
when it was put back, because there's probably
they
more they want to do with the game and stuff, and being given more time.
Yeah.
Oh, apparently the Medium is out on the 28th of January, so we've only got a few weeks to wait on that.
So what's that? Windows and Xbox Series X. Oh, it's Bloober Team.
What the Medium?
Yeah, that's from Bloober Team because they made like Layers of Fear and something else, I think, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, they're working with the composer from Silent Hill, aren't they? With it, so
yeah, they made.
It looks really cool. It's one of the games I was into.
Apparently, it's only coming to the Series X and not the old Xbox as well.
Yeah.
Oh, right, that's weird.
Yeah, because I thought they were only going to be putting games out. They won't. They're putting games out on the old systems as well for a while.
Yeah, I'll be waiting to see if they actually do a boxed version, because as far as I know, it's a digital only.
I'll be picking up on PC Game Pass, so I'm quite happy with that. Is Final Fantasy 16 due this year?
Rumours are yes. Rumours are it's going to be a lot sooner than people think.
Okay, that'll be interesting.
I haven't even seen a trailer.
Because obviously Yoshida is pretty used to working with like time constraints, isn't he?
Yeah,
I think he's a bit busy person, and he said he's still heading up Final Fantasy 16 while also still releasing and doing stuff as the head on for 14. So he was sort of like quite excited for what this year has got coming.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's awesome.
It feels like Final Fantasy is like getting more and more games as time goes on. Like it used to be like relative. Like it feels like it used to be like 4 or 5. Maybe not 4 or 5 is probably a bit of a. It felt it used to be 3 years or something by the time you'd get another Final Fantasy game.
Well, I think.
Well, you think 15 was a long time was a while back now.
Yeah, it's been a while since
Yeah, it's
15.
true.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
guess
many
it's
years.
7 was
the
just a
MMO
remake.
expansions coming
Yeah.
coming across. They sort of leapfrog, and it feels like there's way more. And then Final Fantasy remake is now
Mm.
also out, which I guess is technically different.
See, this is something that's actually been quite quiet. You should, as far as I haven't heard anything yet, but March or April, you should get it on PC and Xbox because it was only supposed to be
Yes.
a year's exclusivity, and it came
Yeah.
out around then on
Yeah.
PlayStation.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably buy it again. On PC. Oh, yeah, great game.
Yeah, I
So
can't
yeah,
wait
to have
the 547 gig PC version.
Yeah.
I think it's still one of the biggest installs for a PC game. I think, isn't it? Final Fantasy
15
15.
it
It's
is a
over 100
large.
gigs, isn't it?
Yeah, if you add the 4K patch, yeah, it's massive.
I think the only thing that I know of that I might get is maybe the PC release of Neo 2.
Yeah, okay, sounds like a plan.
That's
Yeah,
in February.
yeah, I like when they do the PC releases. I've just picked up Death Stranding, which was obviously a PS4 exclusive, so I'm looking forward to playing that.
Well, it was a
So-
timed
Yeah.
exclusive, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, main thing I'm looking forward to, as I say, is Halo. So yeah, good times, man.
Yeah, I still find it bizarre when you're obviously going on about the the file sizes for obviously certain games and everything, and then like Cyberpunk is still under 60 gig.
Yeah, I'm not sure
Yeah,
how
well,
large it is on PC.
Somebody pointed out that like Microsoft, like the flight simulator, has like the entire Earth in it reconstructed from satellite images, and it takes up less hard drive space than a Call of Duty game at this point.
Yes.
It's because it's all all its
Yeah, most
information is like
stream.
dragged from the cloud, isn't it? Basically.
It
Yeah.
is, yeah.
Like they do cheat, but it's just a funny. It's like a little funny talking point you can put where like the entire
Yeah.
Earth takes up less hard drive space than Call of Duty.
Yes, it's one of the blokes I play on PlayStation 4 with. He's got a PS5 and he's got the new Call of Duty on that. And he says that game takes up almost like a third of his hard drive.
Jesus.
It's nuts, isn't it?
Ridiculous.
It's absolutely nuts. Yeah, I'm just looking. Flight Sim is 97 gig. My PC.
I wonder if that goes up as you like jump around the map, and cause I imagine it stores some of it locally.
Valhalla's only just over 50 gig.
Hmm.
Yeah, but that doesn't even have the whole of England in it. It's only.
It'd be interesting to see what they do with the DLC for that.
I think the next one, because we get hints because we've already got the synopsis. Well, like the first one is set in, I think, Ireland, and the second one is about like the siege of Paris or something.
Oh yes, they did do a little roadmap, didn't they, for it?
Yeah, so we have like the names and like the little like plot, like back of the box style like synopsis, a little hook.
Right? Did you know, Webby, that in Vikings, Ragnar's brother is actually based on a real person?
Oh, that's cool.
I imagine most of the characters in Vikings are based on real people, aren't they?
Yeah, yes and no to a certain degree, but I believe because the whole thing with Ragnar is kind of was he, wasn't he kind of thing. But his brother takes on like a name at some point in the series, and it's a name that you should recognise from history.
All right.
Basically, I believe anyway.
Cool. Cool.
I need to watch Vikings. I'm too
Yeah,
much.
you
of
do, man. You do.
Too much of like a history nerd around like, the Viking invasions.
Originally, I was kind of slightly put off when it was announced and it was first out because it was a History Channel show, wasn't it?
Yeah, because
I believe it was on something like History or Discovery or something.
Yeah, but then like it was like a clear like dramatization and like a lot of the like I know I'm gonna sound like a massive nerd here, but like, oh, the armor's all wrong. So it just looked a bit weird, right? Where it's like on channels that are usually like quite informative and have lots of documentaries on, and so he has like this like very sort of dramatized, slightly like historically inaccurate show. It's like, oh, this is weird. Maybe I'll give it a skip, but I keep hearing more and more good things about it.
It's good. It's really good.
King Egbert's the man.
King Egbert.
That is a name that rings a bell.
Yes. Yes.
Just know that when him and Ragnar are on screen, fucking gold, pure gold.
It
like
is.
the conversations they have.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Anyway, guys, we need to wrap it up. It's been over 2 hours. I'm tired. And I want to go to bed soon. So,
Fair enough.
it's been good times. So, thank you very much for coming on. Delatov, it's awesome having you on again. Good times. And don't forget, everyone, that next week is the Game of the Year show. That is one you do not want to miss. So, from me, Mark Webb, Gamertag, PissUndy, Steam ID, Webby, 360G.
And Sensei Switch.
And Delatoth.
So thank you very much. Don't forget to find me on Twitter at 360gamercast or at Webby360G. Facebook, just search for 360gamercast. If you want to join our vibrant Discord community, just hit the link in the show notes. And again, thank you to all you patrons for paying to listen to this show every single week. You are legends. So thank you very much. We will see you for the Game of the Year show next week. Goodbye. Ah, good times.
Nice.
Right, guys, I'm going to jump off.
All right.
No worries.
And, yeah.
It's already 11. Oh, that
Oh,
shot
no, it's
round
11
quickly.
o'clock already, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
When did we
That's-
start? Like 9 or something? Like by the
Half
time.
8. Well, yeah, quarter to 9, yeah. Yeah, what time we got going, yeah. Yeah, that's a long time. Cool. All right, dudes. Well, I'll hopefully talk to you during the
Cool.
week anyway. Try and
Yeah,
get some
I'll be
gaming in
about
if we
on
can.
Twitter and whatnot.
Yeah. Cool. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Cheers.
Groovy. All right, take it
See
easy,
ya.
guys. Speak
Bye.
to you next week.
Bye.
All right, see ya.
See ya. Bye.